Smoking Tire Podcast is brought to you today by Hellofresh. With Hellofresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on Hellofresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. The best thing about HelloFresh for me is that if you like to cook already, getting the sort of like food delivery things seems like kind of a cop-out, but HelloFresh isn't, because they're sending you recipes and fresh ingredients, and you still do the cooking. It's not like those other meal services where you just reheat something that's already been made and it feels like eating leftovers every day. That sucks. HelloFresh, you're doing the cooking, but they just take the parts out of it that suck, like going to the grocery store, like buying more than you need in order to make a recipe, like trying to figure out which recipe in your big wall of recipe books or on the internet to make. Like, for instance, here at Westside Collector Car Storage, people want to drive their cars, and we store them, we wash them, we check their tire pressures, and we help maintain them. So we do all the annoying things so people can actually go out and drive their cars. That's like HelloFresh. HelloFresh does all the annoying things, sending fresh ingredients pre-portioned to you, along with an easy-to-read recipe card that you can customize so you know what you're getting, right? You can change your delivery day, change your food preference, change your plan size, and then you do the cooking. So you get to be involved in the process, you get to learn new recipes, you get a sense of accomplishment, and you know you're eating a totally fresh dinner. It's excellent. Every HelloFresh meal I've cooked, they say on the sheet, around 30 minutes or less. I found, including total prep time, it's like I would lock it in under 40. Around 30 minutes or less, some of them definitely under 40. It's quick and easy meals. You've got some 20-minute recipes. You've got some more gourmet options. You've got various diet restriction ones, whether it's vegetarian or whatnot. HelloFresh is 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal of the same quality. That I definitely believe. You could save over $65 a month ordering HelloFresh instead of grocery shopping. That's definitely true. 50 menu and market items every week, including some healthy options, some family-friendly options, some veggie options, and gourmet. Gourmet means throw your health out the window. It's going to be delicious. That's what that means. And so I love HelloFresh because it just makes cooking more fun. I keep those recipe cards for later if I ever want to revisit something and make it again. And you can too. Go to HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire16, the number 16, SmokingTire16, and use code SmokingTire16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. So HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire16, use code SmokingTire16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. We're also brought to you today by Policy Genius. It is an interesting world out there, folks. Things can happen. You never know when they're going to happen, and you want to be prepared. And trust me, you don't want to think about insurance once you already need insurance. I've had more people talk to me about how they wish they had certain types of insurance after the disaster already happened. You need to get on this game beforehand, and Policy Genius can easily help you find home and auto coverage similar to what you have now, but at a lower price. If your home and auto policies are almost up for renewal, let Policy Genius look for a lower rate for you by comparing top insurers from Progressive to Allstate. It's your one-stop shop to find and buy the insurance you need. So head over to PolicyGenius.com and answer a few questions. Policy Genius will show you price estimates for policies that fit your search and help you understand your options. The Policy Genius team can look for ways to try to save you more money, and if they find a better rate than what you're paying right now, they will switch you over for free. Customers who bundled their home and auto policies with Policy Genius saved an average of $1,250 a year versus what they were paying before. The Policy Genius team works for you, not the insurance companies, so you can trust them to offer unbiased help and advocate for you at every step until you're covered. Policy Genius doesn't add any extra fees. They won't sell your info to third parties, and their top-notch service has earned them thousands of 5-star reviews across Google and Trustpilot. Since 2014, Policy Genius has helped over 30 million people shop for insurance and placed $120 billion in coverage. So head over to policygenius.com, get your free home and auto insurance quotes, and see how much you could save. Policygenius.com, baby. Last but certainly not least, Off the Record is here. They are here for you, people. offtherecord.com/TST or code TST10 on the Off the Record app. Friends don't let friends plead guilty, folks. The ticket writing industrial complex is very real. It's not to say there aren't horrible, reckless drivers out there that deserve to have their licenses taken away. There are. But odds are you aren't one of them. You just got caught up in the system. And it is important to not let the system run you over, because if you get a ticket, it's not just about that one ticket. It's about your insurance rates. It's about you being in that system for much, much longer than that one fine. And your insurance premium could increase multiples of what the actual moving violation amount is on the ticket. So before you plead guilty, get to offtherecord.com/TST and see if one of their expert crack lawyers can help you get those points off your record. They have an extremely high success rate. I've used Off the Record personally twice, and I have never heard from the state again. Boom! Tickets gone, vanished into the ether. And you can too. Either download the Off the Record app and use code TST10 on the Off the Record app, or go to offtherecord.com/TST. Make yourself an account. Like we just talked about with insurance. You don't want to need this once it's too late. Okay, have it ready, and that way, if you get pulled over for something, you're not panicking. It's not going to be the end of the world. You just sign that thing that the cop gives you, and then immediately go straight to Off the Record, and they will help get those points off your record. And if they don't get the points off your record, if they don't meaningfully reduce that ticket to something that doesn't really affect your life in the long term, they have a money-back guarantee. There's some fine print, but you can read all about it at offtherecord.com/TST. Alrighty, folks, on this episode of the show, it's a three-up, it's a threesome, it's a four-way, it's an orgy, it's an automotive gangbang with Jason Torchinsky, David Tracy, and my friend Beau Boeckmann. They have just started a new website called The Autopian. You probably know Jason Torchinsky and David Tracy from their shitbox adventures, from their deep dives into the automotive minutiae at their old employer, Jalopnik. And Beau Boeckmann is the second, or maybe it's even third generation president, CEO, and owner of the Galpin auto stores here in Southern California. More than just a car dealer, Beau is really a good representative for car culture. You might remember him from Pimp My Ride, when Pimp My Ride moved from West Coast Customs to Galpin Autosports. I've personally bought several cars from Beau, and they are the largest Ford dealer in the world. They have a Starbucks and a diner in their dealership, which is pretty G. They have great parties, and they collectively, these three boys, have started The Autopian, a new site for deep dives into car history, car culture, and the automotive world. Torchinsky, Tracy, and Boeckmann on the Smoking Tire Podcast. That's the show.
All right.
Welcome to the studio, children.
Thank
L'chaim.
you. L'chaim.
Hey, thanks.
David Tracy, Jason Torchinsky, Bosif Boeckmann. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having
Glad
us.
to be here.
This is an unlikely, well, not you, but this collectively,
Yeah.
to me is an unlikely grouping.
I think it's actually less unlikely than it seems, but I understand to the outside world you see a successful human, two dipshits. It's confusing.
Well,
to a lot
two
of people.
dipshits who are known for writing about particularly terrible cars with
true.
great passion.
True.
And then someone who sells very expensive cars.
But
Well,
And collects
reasonable
collects
cars.
very expensive cars, and also reasonable cars.
But we
you
have
sold
a-
me a Fiesta.
Yes, that's right. I love
You
that
sold me the last 4 or 5 cars I've bought new.
And thank you.
I love your
and
service.
By the way, the Fiesta ST, one of my favorite all-time
Fucking
cars.
classic.
Amazing.
Classic.
I still love driving that car. I have one.
You still have one?
Yeah,
Good
absolutely.
For you. That's how
I
you
kinda
know
like
Beau's
a
real.
First-gen Fiesta, too, I thought.
Look, what you have to know is
You mean like a Festiva?
No,
those
before,
I sold the
German
last
one.
Festiva, 1989. Ooh.
Although I hear on circle tracks they were big, the Festiva, and
They're circling back into ironic cool.
Yeah.
They're a couple years behind the Volvo 240.
they were Kias, right? Like Kia built those things,
Yeah.
I think.
Well,
yeah.
the first Fiesta, yes. The Festiva was
Festiva
different.
was a Kia. The first Fiesta was that
Was a
Ford of
Kia.
Germany
the
thing.
Festiva
That
was
thing was-
Detroit trying to knock off a Kia.
Well, first Fiesta was the one that looked like a rabbit, the German one that we got here,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that one. The Festiva. That's confusing names, though. Why did Ford do that? Fiesta Festiva is just asking for trouble.
I think, I don't know.
Fiesta. I get Festiva. I still don't. Yeah.
Aspire. That's the
Anyway.
one I always think of that makes
The
me
Aspire?
hurt.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
the Kia.
That was
Because you
always-
aspire to own anything better than
It
this.
was the I think the most poor,
Oh, yeah,
one
there's
of the
the
most
first-gen
poorly
Fiesta.
named
Yeah, the
Fords.
first-gen
That Fiesta is cool.
They're very cool.
That's a rally car.
Oh, yeah, they're
XR2.
fantastic.
Look at the fade. It's got the faded graphics going
Fade
on.
is fantastic.
And the phone dial wheels, like that's like a Gandini,
hell is that
like
thing
They
pretty
were cool
much.
little
Like,
cars.
right.
They were like
I never sold those. That's
that was
rad.
like
You really missed out on
60s,
those.
And
That
they were
thing
Ford
rules.
in Germany, and
That's
they
it,
brought
yeah.
them here. Almost complete golf knockoff in every dimensionality, but kind of cooler.
God damn, that's cool. That
very
would
cool.
kill at Radwood right now with one of those.
Hell yeah, they would.
Those are awesome.
I'm old enough that I grew up. Those things were still kind of around, and they were like yellow with plaid seats. I fucking love them.
See, this
Love
right
them.
here is exactly what happens between Beau and Jason.
Well, so-
Is
okay,
they
yeah, so-
it's not as unlikely of a grouping as you'd expect.
I'm learning.
Once they start talking about like micro cars and obscure 19th century, they
But
never
we
stop.
should tell our origin story a little bit because we kind of have one.
Yeah,
yeah, well, let's hear it.
Well, we were launching the Skyliner for Ford, so we built this transit van that was like the limo jet style, you know,
Okay.
that everyone's kind of
Everyone's doing now, yeah.
And they
Limos are dead. It's all about vans now.
Yeah, why would you
all
pee
about
in them?
van life.
Who,
Like, why
who
wouldn't
would
you
go in
want-
a limo?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You
So-
think you can't pee in a
so we
limo?
did this-
I beg to differ.
Many limos have been peed in. I guarantee you that.
We did this giant goofy van. It was a lot of fun. It came out nice, and Jason was out doing the story for Jalopnik.
Yeah,
right?
for Jalopnik. I was living in LA at the time, so it was
So I'm
easy.
like talking to like 3 different people, and this dude out of the corner of my eye comes up and goes, "Is that a BMW Isetta engine in that Toad?" And I'm like, "Yes." Like finally, someone asked me an interesting question. Like, and then like wait a minute.
I barely gave 2 shits about the van. It
Yeah,
was cool.
exactly.
Hilarious.
I
It's
saw
a
this
van.
weird little
Got comfy
dune
seats
buggy.
and whatever.
Yeah, it's amazing. This dune buggy it was like the little Von Dutch dune buggy, but he
the
made
Toad,
it.
yeah.
The Toad, but he made it from it. Everyone assumes a Beetle platform, but I could tell this isn't a Beetle platform. When I looked at the engine, it's flat twin instead of flat 4, and it was
Find the Von Dutch Toad.
yeah. And
Zach.
it's a very cool little machine, and so I had to find. I don't think I
Oh
realized who
yeah,
you
that
were.
thing, the red
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is funky.
it's
It's yeah. He taught his kids how to drive in this car. He used to pick up beer in it.
but
It's got like all of his different art forms in one
so
piece.
funny.
So I was
It's
drawn
made
to
from-
that.
It's actually made from old road signs. The fenders are from Harley
course it is.
Davidson, and the engine's a BMW Isetta. So you know.
Yeah.
It's basically like an FAO Schwartz go kart.
kind of
like,
yeah.
That's
got
funny.
68
We need to
Beetle
put this
tail
back
lights.
into production for
That
sure.
is very Jason.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it was
right?
like moth to flame kind of deal. I was drawn to that. But then I talked to Beau about it, and then Beau was excited by so we started talking about that, and it kind of snowballed. And then I kept in touch with Beau, and I did some research work on various TV things. And then when I had my book out, I was trying to figure out who would make sense. Like I needed someone more respectable than the people I know to like write this forward to get past them. So I thought I'll get Beau to write it, and he did a great job. And we just kind of, and then I would write about ridiculous cars,
And he would buy them.
and Beau would buy them.
That's so funny.
That's the amazing thing. Like I'd write about like Bollé was this guy who was building cars in the 1870s, and basically the first sports car ever made was this Bollé
BOLLE?
LLEE.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah, Leon Bollé. It was like a father-son thing. They were bell
Yeah,
makers.
Amadei Bollé.
Yeah.
That's who I learned Amadei Bollé from. I actually got the Leon Bollé first, and then I found out that you had written about Amadei Bollé. So it was this weird like coincidence.
And you own one of these things?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does
I
it
own a
work?
Leon Bollé. Oh, yeah. It's
I'll
Really?
be trying to
fantastic.
drive it this week.
From what
hopefully.
year?
1901.
1897.
Get the
Oh,
fuck
yeah,
out of
yeah,
here.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
own a car that starts with the year 18?
That was like a fantasy
That
of mine.
rules.
So when I got, so actually after getting this thing, I started unearthing all this incredible history about this man, Leon Boulay, and the Boulay family and everything, mainly from Jason. So I got completely geeked out
It's
on
basically
this
like a wagon, right? Does it have a tiller or does it have a wheel?
It's so much
you
weirder.
get a picture of
it's
the Boulay?
fantastic.
B-O-L-L-E.
It's a Leon Boulay.
Leon Boulay.
Because there was
So the London to Brighton run, which was
Right.
in 1896, which was they got rid of the flag law because
Yeah.
before that, to drive an
had to
automobile, you had to
have
have somebody with a flag in front of you waving it, right?
Yeah.
Guys,
So
I
the
don't think this is
first
going to work.
Race in
Holy shit, this
1896.
thing? A trike?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This dominated in 1896.
It's a
Bro,
sports
how
car.
did it not? This thing was mobbing.
It was
Where
a
do you drive from the
deliberate-
front or the back?
The
From
rear.
the back.
Yeah.
And you see that thing looks like a shovel handle?
Yeah.
That does brake, throttle, and shifting. This
Oh,
is
so it's a joystick.
Well, no, you don't
No,
steer.
it's-
It's so complicated, Matt. Like you have to, there's like you have to have like double wrists to really make it work, and it's like this complicated. No, all straight cut gears. It's
So,
Wow.
so
Wonderful.
you actually have to
Nightmare.
pull it out and then jam it into a gear, which
Yeah.
it never does. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
the gas, the brake, and the gear change,
Oh,
like
my
all at
God.
once. It's
Can't
completely
believe this
bizarre.
didn't
And then you
stick.
have a rack and pinion steering on the other
yeah, it
side.
did have a little rack and
Oh,
pinion.
wow. That little wheel?
Yes.
Oh,
It is
wow. Like
rack and pinion.
outboard rack and
And
pinion.
that's an open flame, right?
Oh, so yeah, hot tube ignition
Yeah.
originally. So no spark plug originally. Hot tube. There's just like a burning bit of fire on a
You'd actually
literal
light it
hot
on
tube.
fire.
And Beau's is modified to have a plug. So when
Yeah.
we drove it, because I drove it for
Highly
Jason Drives,
modified, galvanized.
hot
highly
rodded.
galp, yeah. So, but it makes it run hotter because ignition spark is actually hotter than burning copper tube spark.
I heard you like ignition. So I put some spark on your open flame.
So we did a Jason Drives, and it was
Wow.
We drove it around. It was amazing.
Is it real sketchy?
I crashed
Oh
it.
yeah, tell him. Oh wait, tell me the record.
So I
the
I
record,
think
yes.
I broke a world record. I took my son out on his 10th birthday, and the Leon Boulay was 121 years old, and we're in the Galpin parking lot, and for some reason, like I don't know, we're driving around, and finally, after all this time, I'm playing with it. It goes into second gear, which like doubles the speed.
Have you like never seen second gear before?
Never seen second gear. I mean, this was a big deal. I mean, it goes from 8 to 16 miles an hour, which is
16, no,
horrifying.
I mean, look at this thing.
horrifyingly
That's
fast.
that's not a good speed.
And it's in
No.
like a crowded parking lot, and this like customer comes in who shouldn't have been
You got
driving our
like
parking lot.
F-150 Platinums like
I
everywhere.
think they were driving an Edge actually,
An Edge,
and I
yeah.
had to like
Figures
dart
it out.
out of the way, so I crashed into our inventory of brand new cars, like, and I had to slow it down because my son was like in the back of it, so he goes launching out of it.
Oh my God.
And yeah, I wrecked the damn thing.
But
so
think about
we
what
put it back
happened.
to it wasn't.
Good news is
the
there's
thing
not a
is-
lot of body work. to
Oh,
fix.
it's a piece of iron basically, so it didn't hurt as much.
It looks like a motorcycle crashed into a park bench for people
Yeah,
listening.
yeah,
There's two
yeah,
cars
two
inside.
Well, it's got two, like a seat in the front, and then you drive from the back. So you the person in front of you is your
bumper, really?
Yeah.
So that was my
So
10-year-old son. Was,
So messed up.
That's shady.
But if you think about it, the record here is the differential in age between two crashed cars is the highest. Because what year was this, Beau?
so this
Like a
was
20,
in
right?
2020 or 2019.
100 years.
Yeah, over 100 years. Over a
no,
century
111
of
years, I
difference,
think.
111 years
Yeah.
difference between the two cars involved.
That's
in a wreck.
amazing.
Has to be a record.
That's gotta be.
Gotta be. Where
Yeah,
else is that
yeah.
gonna happen?
That's incredible. Turns out you actually the flagger thing was maybe a good idea for this.
Yeah.
Oh,
First
yeah,
idea.
and then when we had Jason Drives, I flipped over one of the micro cars
Oh,
that we
yeah.
were driving too. So I have this
See?
terrible record of.
This is why we thought it'd be
Yeah.
good to go into business with Beau, because he's
Yeah.
not one of these guys who's a car collection he's timid about. He flipped over a French micro car you can't find anywhere.
not-
He's wrecked at least
not
one
something to be
peel.
proud of.
That's
What's
hilarious.
that?
Oh, then I rolled the peel
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. Stop
Yeah.
driving.
You sound like Dave now.
It's
The
all wonderful.
I support you,
they're
Beau.
doing an Americanized version of this London to Brighton thing at the Audrain Museum in Newport.
I had heard
in March.
something
Zach
about
and I
that.
are going.
Are you really?
Yes.
When are you gonna drive?
Well, now you got to teach me.
Donald
about what's going
Osborne
on.
is providing us a vehicle. I don't know
Right.
what it is, but I'm guessing it's a Lancastershire or something,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something,
Sure, yeah.
something to that degree.
So wait, where's it going from and to?
It's a 40-mile round trip
40
out
miles.
and back from Newport.
that's like an eternity.
gonna take
forever.
days.
It's like cross country in a
Yeah.
Is it pre 1905?
It's like 1 or 2 years newer than the London to Brighton, which makes it much more affordable to enter.
Yeah.
Because apparently a 1904 or 1905 is like
Yep.
hundreds of $1,000s, but a 1906, because it's not eligible
Yep,
for London
that's
to
right.
Brighton, is 30,000. So they're trying to do that.
Yeah. Oh,
I've
makes sense.
just received my period attire in the mail, and
fantastic.
I am. Can I just plug? They didn't give
Yes.
me anything for free. They didn't ask for anything, but Historical Emporium is my new favorite website.
You got a nice hat?
Bro, I got a hat, I got a duster, I
yeah.
got
Goggles?
fucking boots and goggles and leather gloves that
Oh
go.
shit! Yeah, look at this.
Bro, you got to just click on the
shit.
just click on the steampunk tab. Just go, just cut the fat and go
Right,
straight
yeah. That's what
to
everyone
the
wants.
men's.
We need a steampunk tab
because
on our
it's
site.
not just little bits. Somehow did that work? You got full character.
Dude.
So that's me, Barnaby Clifton, intrepid motorist. That's me.
Nice Barnaby.
wow.
All right.
Look at those gloves.
You
too.
got to go. Period. Correct on this.
Yeah, yeah.
And the stuff
Rupert
showed up.
Briggs.
It's like totally decent quality. It's like not. It's not garbage. No,
Halloween
it's all right.
Plastic bag stuff. Holy shit, that's amazing. Wow.
Oh, I want
I
the
might have to
chimney
do that.
sweep one. I'm into that
The
one.
Yeah, chimney sweep.
Is he doing blackface? Like that's a little.
It's a chimney
It's
sweep.
ash face.
It's a chimney sweep.
So all right. Well, Torchinsky and Beau, I get.
Auto
Where
list.
I mean, where do you come in, Tracy?
Yeah, I mean, Torch and I are we're like a duo at Jalopnik, or have been for a long time.
Yeah.
Bring
Yeah.
the mic a little closer to your face.
All right. Yeah, Torch and I have been working
Perfect.
together at Jalopnik for a very long time. We've been kind of like a dynamic duo there. We kind of, he's kind of the artist, I'm the engineer. He has a thorough appreciation of tech. I have an appreciation of kind of his humor and art. And so we've gotten along really well, and we're good friends, so we wanted to go into business together.
So what is the Autopian?
It's going to be a car website in the most straightforward of ways. Like, it's for people who just love cars. It's an unashamed enthusiast site, and we want to just do all the things that we've always loved to do at Jalopnik, the kinds of stories we love, but more and better, less ads, pay attention to, we want to build a community of what readers want to see and engagement. It's pretty simple, really. We just kind of listen.
You know, I love car culture. I mean, all of us, our lives kind of revolve around the automobile. So, you know, like when we do our car shows, we try to have all different car cultures kind of represented. So, you know, we do everything from having, you know, supercars to, you know, Peterson Museum bring out cars to muscle cars and hot rods, and even doing a lowrider hop.
Yeah.
You know, just
Well, every Sunday in Malibu is like the super, even for the Malibu, it's like super variety, like
And that-
literally lowriders
Yes.
and supercars. And there was a Yugo there last weekend.
that's fantastic. See, I love
and
that.
I was like, yes, you!
And
you
that's what
park
it's
up front.
about. See, that's what I'm talking about. You appreciate that
Oh,
because
yeah.
you know what something, you know,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
could be a Yugo and be amazingly cool. So that's what it's about. It's
There
about not
must
separating
be-
car culture.
what factor, multiplication factor do you think there is of Lamborghini Huracans in Los Angeles County versus Yugos?
Yugos? I actually
The
just
ratio.
I
1,000
looked
to
it up.
1.
Too
I
high,
think.
unfortunately.
Yeah, the Yugos are far more rare.
Far
Oh,
far more precious.
I saw Yugo on the freeway. This is a few years ago, and I practically ran him over because I was so excited to be seeing a Yugo on the freeway. And he
been
must have thought I was
daily
some complete dick because I was actually driving an Aston Martin at the time. So I'm pulling up, going, "Oh my god, your car is so cool!" And
Yeah.
he must have been thinking, "What this?" But it was.
You know
it was
what?
fantastic.
Maybe he did it. Maybe
Yeah.
he thought that you really appreciated
Yeah,
I
it.
hope so.
As a Yugo owner and driver, when people pull up, I only assume they're super into my Yugo, and it's nothing but respect.
Last year, I was
Yeah, it's
driving
true.
the Ferrari F8 Spider press car,
Yeah.
and I made a ridiculous series of maneuvers to get a picture while driving of like an immaculate Buick Roadmaster wagon
yeah.
wood panel, and
Worth it.
I put on my Instagram like, yes, I am the guy in the Ferrari making these moves, and like. It's amazing where that went. Like how many people stole that and
Yeah,
used
sure.
it both in like a cool way and look at this shitbag bragging about his Ferrari, like not understanding that I was in a press
No,
car
that
or
was
anything,
genuine.
like
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
he's fucking bragging about his Ferrari.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
I mean, but look at that Roadmaster though.
Oh, it was a Caprice. I'm sorry. I'm
Still,
it was
no
worth
wood
it.
paneling,
Fucker
but
was
that's
spent.
I would have done the same thing.
So many people took my meme.
Yeah,
That is pretty
fantastic. I told you I fixed my Yugo with a rock and 2 hose clamps, though.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was my
Oh
shift
yeah, I
linkage.
saw that. You made a linkage, right?
Yeah, so my shift linkage broke, and I had to use
Is
hose
it still like
clamps.
that, or you fix it?
I put some JB Weld on it, to keep the rock in
my
place.
God.
But the hose clamps, they want something cylindrical, and I needed them to hold together, and so I used a rock to jam in there. And this,
Strangely, that's the right way to do it.
yeah, so most people were
Interestingly
joking,
enough.
like you order the replacement from the factory, and it's like a factory stamped Zastava rock. And 2 hose clamps. They're working on
the
it. The factory.
toolkit you open,
Toolkit
it's just like
oh.
a series of rocks.
Series of rocks. Use the right
See,
one.
there is actually, I think, a line of gag gifts.
Oh yeah,
It's like a Yugo repair kit, and it's
huge
just
market.
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Huge market
rocks,
for that.
hose
A little
clamps, and
chisel. You
rubber
actually
bands.
have to chisel the right size.
Well, your dealer should do that.
Oh, yeah.
Ideally. And well, actually, so I was taking my kid back from the zoo when my shift linkage broke, and I was like an hour from home, and it was getting dark, and I didn't have hose clamps, so I had to get to this auto parts store about a mile away, and one of those guys who's just always around a gas station. They all have him. He said he could get me a ride, so I gave him a few bucks, and it wasn't him. He went to his friend. His friend has this truck, and they're like, okay, you can go with him. In cab of the truck, full of garbage. Bed of the truck, 90% full of garbage.
This is
And
how you
like-
buy drugs, by the way.
Oh
also.
yeah,
This is the same.
And so
better.
So he's like, me and Otto, okay, you guys can get the back of the truck. In the back of the truck with the 2 tiny Jews.
in the bed of the truck.
giant Confederate flag.
Oh yes.
So
You got in that truck?
I got in
And
there.
his son did. The shit that he got from commenters.
you
Yeah,
can get in
and
the
my
truck
son.
if you show me your horns, boy.
The guy was completely unintelligible too. The guy I gave the money to take me was wearing leather pants. Sounded like he was speaking like Klingon through a mouthful of chili. You could not understand a word he said.
Oh, my
And
God.
I was trying to convince Otto, my kid, like, we don't need to tell mom about what's just happening here right now.
Bo, you own some really amazing cars. You personally, your business, the Galpin collection, it's incredible. Been in the car selling business multiple generations at this point.
Yeah.
What is your worst ever car? What is the shittiest car you've ever either owned or been forced to drive?
This is an interesting.
I'm gonna win this one. If
You
I
are.
Oh,
yeah, there's no-
jeez, I think I'm going to need a minute.
Well, I'm going to
here.
ask the opposite
Actually,
of you. Like, what is the
good,
nicest
good,
car
good.
you've ever
The
driven? Because
worst
I bet
car-
there's no overlap here.
My nicest will be worse than his word. There's no question.
The worst car I never sold was a Ford Tempo.
Oh
Do you
yeah,
remember those?
yeah.
Yeah, of course I remember
Yeah.
Tempo, yeah.
And
My parents had the Mercury version, the Tracer.
Topaz?
Tracer,
Oh, the
yeah.
Topaz. The
Topaz.
Topaz.
It was the
Tracer was
Topaz.
the hatchback.
The Topaz.
Yeah.
The Tracer
yeah.
was the Escort version.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was the yeah.
The
Oh, that
Tracer
was it.
wasn't
No,
as bad.
the Mercury was that one. It was the Topaz.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So I could never bring myself to actually sell a person that car. So in that way,
Is that because no
maybe
one
that
would buy it? Is that?
They were around. People ended up buying them. I remember seeing them.
It's not, look,
Such
they
a
were
sad
affordable
car.
transportation, but
joyless.
it was just joyless.
Yeah.
In the
It
worst
really-
possible way.
Yeah.
Although, the first gen one with the kind of angled marker light
Of
is
course you like it, Jason.
a little, and like, okay, the thick pillars,
is-
I don't hate it.
It's
in a weird way.
rosy.
Well, I gotta
it's
say-
rosy, ironic, cool for you. It's not good.
It's
Yeah.
aging. It's aging well.
Like the big thick
I'm
pillars.
starting to like it actually.
Like
And by
if you
the way,
slammed it on Dayton wires, like you might have something.
Yeah, maybe. It's not hopeless.
But if somebody had one that was like perfectly preserved,
yeah.
like that.
Now it would be
amazing.
cool, for
Now
sure.
that would be
I would
super
respect
cool.
Well,
that,
there was
yeah.
I was at Radwood, L.A. this past November or whatever it was. It was
At
some-
Peterson?
No, the one at the Acura thing. That was
okay.
that was a couple years ago. That was where I got a fucking crown, homie. I was the king of Radwood at that
King of
one.
Radwood.
That was the one. There was like
Was
a
your
Liege.
red Lambo at that one?
Yeah,
yeah.
that was where
that was
I,
a good time.
I got a crown because I owned 6 cars that were all Radwood
that's
legends.
right, yeah.
My crown's in my office.
Nice.
No, this one was at Acura Center, and it was really amazing. It was enormous, but there was 2 cars parked next to each other. An Eagle Premier
wow.
that was so mint, except for like one little dent on it, and the guy was like, "That happened this morning at Costco,"
damn.
and I was,
Oh, poor guy. Poor guy.
and a Pontiac Grand Prix with like 7,500 miles on it, and all those buttons in the center of the steering wheel.
yeah, yeah.
You know, and I was like, God, this shit is really aging. It's really,
Yeah.
I'm feeling all of it.
Yeah. Who's the person who's
What is your
keeping
nicest-
a perfect Eagle Premier, though?
I don't know.
Oh, sorry. Go
What
ahead.
was your nicest car, Tracy?
Oh shit.
This is-
I don't know. Let's see. I had a Lexus LX 470 for a while.
Oh, that's a very nice car.
and
actually.
it had 265,000 miles, and it was, which is nothing for that car. I got rid of it after it was too nice. It was,
Yeah.
I couldn't
You
deal
don't
with it.
deserve that car.
I don't deserve it. I
No,
really don't.
You're an animal.
Yeah.
You're like, I mean, every one of the articles that you write, it just seems like you're torturing yourself.
right?
It really does.
I think
some of
it
it-
doesn't have to be this
Part
way.
of it is like the challenge of it. Like if you look at the 57 FC that I bought in Seattle.
The forward control Jeep.
The forward control, yeah.
Charming car.
If you look at the one, I bought it out in Seattle, completely rotted out. I mean, it was just gone. And the amount of work required to get that thing even moving under its own power, like that challenge is what I'm into. I just want to problem solve. Like that
was a resurrection.
I respect that, but man, do you start from a deep, deep hole.
In context, he gave himself trench foot during this process.
Really?
Trench foot, World War I
People still get
style.
that?
No,
I didn't know that.
except this idiot.
And explain what it is for those who don't know, because I did not know this morning, and
Explain the whole trench foot thing, David,
I'm
'cause
happy
all
that
I'm
I know
saying
now.
is-
People have a
Might as well
right to
be
know.
bubonic plague.
You need to take your shoes and socks off when you're wrenching on car. You can't go like 3 days without doing that.
Oh,
Basically, your
David.
feet get so moist. We don't need to talk about trench foot. We go to the next
No,
subject.
no, I think we do. I
It's-
think we need to
the
talk about it.
implication is there. I mean, I get it.
I got a text from him showing some disgusting feet, and he's like,
It's
I
in
can't,
the article if you want to see it,
walk.
but I wouldn't recommend it.
You literally steamed your own feet.
Yeah.
like
It was a bad
rice.
situation. It was not good. I couldn't even walk, but I did get the engine running, and that's almost worth it.
Can't walk, but I could drive.
That's right. And I didn't even need my right foot because it was a hand throttle.
Didn't need my
Because the
right
gas
foot.
pedal had rusted off, so I just used a carburetor choke.
really?
Yeah.
Was this
So it worked
before
out.
you set the guy's garage on fire, or after?
It was after. It was
Oh,
my
okay.
God.
This is after
Yeah.
he set a
I
guy's
tried to
garage.
drive a car with a throttle on a string once. It's very hard.
extremely hard. Yeah, I was using a choke cable and it would get stuck all the time. It was either off or like full watt.
my God.
Nothing in between.
I'm still trying to figure out, for the life of me, what made you think bathing in the Baltic Sea before visiting Koenigsegg was a good idea.
This is also good.
This
Well-
I can't even comprehend this. Talk about torturing yourself.
There's a one-word answer that makes sense here.
No.
no. I wish it was that simple.
No.
God, that would solve so many
This
problems.
was like, peak pandemic, and so and I'm a cheap bastard, didn't want to buy a hotel. I was living in a diesel manual Chrysler minivan, and I was meeting with Koenigsegg engineers. I wasn't going to show up all musty, and there was a there was a perfectly good sea right there. I bought some shampoo.
You
and
learned
stuff.
from
perfectly
trench
good
foot. You're like, I'm not
sea.
going
No,
to
This was pre-trench foot.
Is it a good sea?
Yeah, perfect.
How
Honestly,
cold
even on
is
that
that?
seas, it's
That's like
bottom
the
of the
Arctic
list.
Circle type shit, right?
Yeah.
It was
Even
cold.
by perfectly good sea standards, it's
Yeah, it was that over there on the left side.
What made
yeah.
you think that would make you smell better?
I actually
Great
don't know if
question, Beau.
I didn't get any comments from the Koenigsegg guys.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, what are
they're
you going to
very
say?
polite.
Even worse.
The
Yeah,
weird fans.
they
they're
are
very
extremely
polite.
polite.
They are. They're
how great is that place, though?
Incredible.
I mean, even if you
Oh, yeah.
smell and can't feel your feet, it's quite delightful.
Yeah, it really is.
Did you get to have a go? Did they let you drive one?
No, they didn't. No, it was
A man
I
who
just-
smells like oysters isn't going to get to go when it comes. That's the rule.
They're like, I'm sorry, we're out of
Dave.
plastic bags.
Yeah, we can't do that, sir.
Yeah, I just got a basic tour and I sat down with one of the transmission engineers and he talked about the transmission he was working on, but he was like really into it. He was. Here's a smelly dude who's, showed up, and he's
Coming
got
from
shit
you?
to do, and he wasn't. He wasn't
But
giving,
you're a smelly dude who understands transmissions on a deep level.
Yeah.
You know what? I do understand transmissions, not Koenigsegg transmissions.
No,
like,
they do some weird shit
They
over
do.
there.
Yeah, it's wild. That one, he was telling me it can go over 90 miles an hour in reverse.
Whoa.
They limit it, but it theoretically can.
Someone has finally broken the Crown Victoria record.
Oh.
Did
Wasn't
Crown Vic
the
have-
Crown Victoria was the fastest car in reverse, I believe. For
What about like a
no.
DAF with like
The DAF can-
yeah.
What's the DAF? I've never
The
even heard of
Dutch
a
car,
DAF.
they were the ones who invented CVTs. And it was like
Oh.
belt-driven transmissions, so
Oh, so it's
they
the
could
same
go,
either way.
Exactly, top speed and reverse. But it's like a 45 horsepower engine, so
I'm pretty sure
Wow.
that Crown Vic would do 66.
kilometers.
I mean,
Oh, 44 in reverse.
I
There we
did
go.
60 in reverse in a Kia Stinger GT with TJ Fry.
Get the fuck
No
out of
shit.
here.
He
did you?
absolutely did.
Really?
And we were like, wow, this
My
is
gosh.
How interesting.
Damn, what was it revving at though?
I don't remember, man.
It's
I was just
usually
trying to hold the
reverse.
wheel straight.
That's frightening.
I have a feeling that they just assume people aren't going to
Right, like, why
really
would you
try
even-
that,
Yeah.
and it might just be kind of like. It might be like you don't want it to make too much torque in reverse, right? You actually
Right.
you might want to reduce torque by giving it a very long gear, and it has
reverse
the
is-
opposite effect of being able to go very, very fast.
Yes.
Isn't reverse usually even less than first? Like
It's usually pretty short. Yeah.
pretty
Generally,
usually.
yeah.
Because you're taking, it's like first, you're going from a dead stop, usually.
Yeah, but I don't know. You're not. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I just made that up. I literally made up that rationale right now.
Well,
so
we'll have to look it up. But,
90 in reverse in a Koenigsegg, though, is something I don't have the balls to try.
No, I wouldn't do it either. They didn't let me do it.
Yeah.
I mean, coming out of my van, they
Should've
weren't
been like,
trusting me.
I challenge you.
They could have beaten my van in reverse, no question.
Oh yeah.
Do they greet you at the door with tea or something like that, and you're coming out of your van?
No, it wasn't like that. It was their
It's
PR.
like
It was their
visual
PR
years.
person.
Yeah,
They may not
exactly.
have. Yeah, they're just people scrubbing behind.
Do you have one of those?
No,
Do you have a
no, no.
Koenigsegg?
No.
You gonna get one?
How about a C?
No.
Do you have a
No,
C?
not for you.
No, because
He could get like
we
10
don't, we don't
microcars.
sell those, so you know.
You have
That's
things.
true.
You don't sell fucking Von Dutch coffins
Well,
either.
that's
But like,
you got a point there. No, I absolutely respect the company and Christian. I mean, they're just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
So just I'm not a $1 million sports car kind of guy.
Okay.
Other than Ford GTs.
you have a
Still
Ford
different.
GT.
Yeah, that's
That
true.
is in fact.
But honestly, part of why we partnered with Beau is because he's not a million. Like, he could be, but the fact that he chooses not to be.
If you're,
is-
I see. You could be $1 million. If you have a Koenigsegg, you're non-traditional, even if you are very rich.
That's actually true.
I, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's a
the
valid-
Koenigsegg buyer and the PLP 50 buyer are the same customer.
Yeah, they just
I
respect.
respect. Yeah, there's something.
It's that
that's true.
circle that comes
Yeah.
back.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
It's different than just getting like a matte black Aventador.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some taste there. You respect the tech, you know.
Yeah. But okay, to defend David and his propensity to jump in seas, for Otto's birthday, my little boy, for when he turned, I guess, was it this past year when he turned 11?
No, it was before that.
But to 10, I guess, in the pandemic, David was out there in Europe, but he live streamed, we got on like FaceTime or whatever, and for Otto's birthday, he jumped into, what was it, the Baltic Sea?
I slipped into the.
Oh yeah, he did a fake dramatic
You know
slip.
how kids like the slapstick
Loved
stuff.
it. Otto loved
Here's a
it.
grown ass
The
man
kids.
like slipping into the
into the sea, and it looked so cold and painful. Everything
was.
about that. Oh yeah,
But I knew he would get a laugh.
Oh,
out
he
of it,
did. He
so
got
it
a
was
big
worth
laugh.
it.
So yeah, gotta donate props to David.
So
for
wait,
that.
what was the story of this diesel Chrysler van though? Because like I've never really heard of that.
Yeah, in Europe, you could get a Chrysler Voyager minivan with a diesel and a stick, and the stick was down.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
the floor. It's a
all-
floor shift, right?
Yeah, but no, it's not like a tall. It's down. Like you're like down here. Like, you got to dislocate your right shoulder to get to it.
You got to really reach for it.
And
Yeah.
Valamet made it, right? Like it was made in.
Yeah, so it was made in Austria.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it built better than the ones we got?
Well, I mean, it's not that great. Yeah, so, I mean, the fact that it still exists after 25 years, the answer is probably yes.
If I see one of these, and this is a second gen, so it's like
Yeah.
a facelifted,
Yep.
just
Yeah.
slightly
Same
round.
platform.
If I
take
see one of
car
these
base.
in Los Angeles, I lose my fucking mind.
Oh.
Like,
So-
they don't exist in America really.
So
anymore.
this
No,
one
they're
has
extinct,
260,000 miles. It's got a VM Motori diesel, so it's
Oh,
an
yeah.
Italian diesel.
Yeah.
Each has separate cylinder heads per cylinder, right?
Yep, 4-cylinder turbo diesel.
Get the
one
fuck
one
outta here
head
with
per
4
cylinder.
One
heads?
head.
Like a 911?
Yeah, or an airplane engine, like a
Yeah.
like a Continental,
Yeah.
whatever, like a separate head per cylinder.
That's crazy.
It seems great.
It's a great van. 260,000 miles with this little stick shift and a turbo. It's great.
Did you ship it home?
Not yet. It's still.
It's still over there?
My parents live in Germany, so they're driving it around.
Oh, they rolling it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The
Are
thing
they
you
really driving it? That's cool.
They are driving. You can roll coal in this van, like legitimately.
I'm not shocked.
It's pretty great. Get into second gear, and you know what?
You say can roll coal. Do you mean it does roll coal? Is
No. You have to go like full throttle. Not that there's a throttle, but full pedal. And I have to say, I never thought I'd actually like rolling coal. It's controversial.
I know.
But like, there's something about seeing the black smoke. There's something about. I have
Doing
to say.
it in Europe
You
is a
are
different
not from
thing
LA,
than-
man, dude.
Yeah.
There's a real difference of opinion about rolling coal, whether you are inside or outside the vehicle that is rolling coal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
If you're
yeah.
inside,
that's very
even
true.
if you're inside, it's hard to not enjoy a little bit. If you're outside, you're like, fuck that guy.
Of course.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd roll coal on like a cyclist.
Never on anyone, but
Yeah.
just in a minivan, in rural Sweden, just it's so boring, going all
Sure.
the way.
They
yeah.
probably appreciate the color, frankly.
Other than the diesel engine and the country in which it was built, is there anything different about the Euro version?
Yeah,
of
little
the-
thing. So,
amber rear indicators.
okay,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
in Europe they were required to have headlight adjustment. So there's a little
Oh, yeah.
dial, and you can
Shit.
adjust the.
Yeah.
Hood ornament. It's flat.
Yes.
Instead of,
I think for Ped Pro maybe it doesn't have the stand-up hood ornament.
That's disappointing.
Oh, and it has the little indicators on the fenders. The front fenders?
Repeaters, indicator repeaters.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Wait, doesn't it have? Wait, what's the remote control thing for like rear window pop-outs?
Oh, that was you could get that in the U.S.
Oh, the
too.
power third windows.
Or
yeah.
It had
those
Yeah.
vents. I forgot.
Which
about
are
Yeah,
very
those
cool.
our E46 M3s have those too. That's a genius feature.
Wait, it's got power for like vent windows.
Yeah.
That's so good.
That's so cool.
That's so good.
Yeah,
34
excellent.
miles per gallon, by the way, in that van.
Yeah,
34.
it's
Oh
respectable.
yeah.
God, that's
7 passenger.
Are
Oh,
those
that's great.
American
That is
miles per
amazing.
Yeah.
Did you take it over like a high pass? Like
You took
like
it
over the
all the
Alps?
fuck over here.
Oh, I have driven that thing over 10,000 miles.
Really?
I drove it from
10,000.
So
God, yeah.
I drove it from Munich to Istanbul, which was supposed to be, I think, like a 12-hour drive or something like that.
Sounds
which not a
terrible.
huge deal in the U.S. 12 hours is 12 hours in the U.S.
Yeah.
In Europe, when you're going through a bunch of countries,
Yeah.
12 hours is 24 hours.
Yeah.
And you're at checkpoints for like 3 hours
And
at a time.
even mentally, Munich to Istanbul just
Sounds
seems
terrible, doesn't
That's
it?
not going from
No, it doesn't
Arkansas
sound terrible.
to
It just
Oklahoma.
seems like a
Yeah.
lot of hours.
It's a lot of change.
just
And you picked up a
terrible.
hitchhiker too.
Yeah. 19 hours,
How many
24
countries?
minutes, according to Google.
Yeah, and I actually went
far.
I actually went east of Ankara there to
This looks like a fucking Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I stick with those statements.
You know, I got stuck on the border of Serbia. Let's see, where did I get stuck? Bulgaria and Serbia. I got stuck on the border. I didn't have I didn't pay for something, and I had no money.
You hadn't showered. They were like, you can't come
And
in.
the way I got out of it is the border check guy was a big basketball fan. And we just talked about the 09 Celtics team. He was like, "Oh, go on, you're fine."
The shit that'll get you through
And
sometimes.
he had lived
it's
in-
amazing.
This guy, this guy in Bulgaria had lived in Boston for like a couple years. And now he works at a checkpoint. Man,
Random.
crazy. Yeah.
Totally random. That's fucking crazy.
And wait, is that where you got my Yugo steering wheel? Was that when you stopped
Yeah,
there?
on that trip. Yeah.
Did you
Stopped
need
in-
an OEM? You go
I did actually, because I had some shitty aftermarket wheel where the foam was so the foam was all getting dry inside and the leather outside was so bad you'd drive it and you just get like dust,
flakes?
sand all over your crotch, and it was the worst steering wheel. But David got me an original Serbian market. Which
You're right.
Wow.
Close to where it was
Bro.
built.
Yeah,
Period
That's
correct,
cool.
bro.
Went in the middle of the
Period
night.
it's so much better actually.
In the middle of the night in Belgrade, I messaged some guy on some website, and he sold me a steering wheel. Yeah.
And we had you had a reader.
Thing
who,
that
like,
happens
hooked you
in
up.
Belgrade.
Yeah.
I guess.
But I mean, that's what's amazing about this job is you write these ridiculous things about cars, and the next thing you know, there's people you can actually like. The guy who took David around Belgrade was like a reader who felt like he knew David, so
Yeah.
you could meet this guy and he'd show you all the amazing.
Yeah, stayed with him
things
for
and-
3 days. Yeah, real.
Yeah, you
good
stayed
guy.
with him.
You stayed with him for 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, no way.
He had
but
a
it's-
shower. What can I say?
You know,
Not a good sea available for bathing.
really, so I get there to Belgrade. Dragoslav is his name, and he's like 6'5".
Dragoslav?
Yeah,
great name.
Dragoslav
Jesus,
Petrovic.
you couldn't write that.
He's
down,
like
man.
6'5", 6'6", and I show up, and he's this big guy, and he's like super excited to see, dorky small me, and we just walk around Belgrade just looking at cool
Bro.
cars, and he's going nuts. It's awesome.
Dragoslav. That's a character out of Triple X4.
Yeah. He's like, I'm Dragoslav. I'm 6'6", 300 pounds.
course
Want to
he
stay
is.
with me for 3 days?
course he
Sure,
is.
let's do it.
I literally lift Yugos for a living. Okay.
Yeah, my old job was like bending the suspension.
That is
arms.
crazy.
Amazing.
That's crazy.
I love that you're still alive from all these.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
There's all kinds. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why David should be dead. Can I talk? Can I embarrass you a little bit and talk about how you live, like an animal?
Oh, this is not going to go well.
I mean, it's all out there in the
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
the
people
interwebs
know. But
already,
okay, I don't know if this is officially out there. But okay, here's something that drives me mad about David. He has been buying groceries. Okay, and he lives in Detroit where it's cold, so he thinks this makes it right.
it is. It's fine.
No, it is not.
Oh, I know where this is going.
So he buys groceries in the back, and so he tells. I was talking to him one day, and he said he had to go outside to like get breakfast, which meant he bought groceries, just left them. He said the back of a Jeep, meaning I was thinking maybe a Cherokee. Terrible idea, stupid because you have to walk outside to get your food, but. It's enclosed, and then I find out, no, it's his fucking Jeep J10 open pickup truck. So he's literally eating food out of the back of an open pickup truck like a raccoon.
what was the average temperature during that period?
It was
It was
raining.
really cold.
It was raining.
It was raining. He was complaining because like his Cheerios turned to mush. Like usually
That's
it's
fucking
David,
gross.
we have to ask why. Let's just jump
because
to
he's an
why.
animal.
Like, do you own a refrigerator?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen
Yes, I don't know. You go grocery shopping and you get home and you're like, man, I gotta I gotta load
No,
up my...
this doesn't happen.
Look, I'm not going to try to
He's trying
justify
to make
this.
it relatable. He's like,
No, we want to hear your
You
thought
just want to
process.
leave it in your car all week.
Honestly, I think I just get sidetracked. I'm just like, I could take all these groceries in. It would take like multiple trips, or I could just say screw it and deal with it later.
And come out here every time I want
It
to buy
does suck
food.
in the morning. Like it's
cold
8 a.m.
as
and
shit.
you got to get your yogurt in like minus 10 degrees. It's not optimal.
you're basically
my
car
God.
camping with a really nice
Yeah,
tent.
your car.
Yes.
Not that
exactly.
nice.
Yeah, you're right.
That is penny smart and dollar foolish, my friend.
Absolutely. There's no logic there. There's no logic there.
No.
Bo, if you had to leave groceries outside for a week in one of your cars,
Yeah, which car
what would
you
it
pick?
be?
I can't even imagine. I haven't been a bachelor in
Just
so
look at
long. I
distaste
can't even
in
imagine
Beau's
his
face
lifestyle
that
anymore.
moment. There's like one moment where
Yeah.
you could see you actually pictured having to do it, and it just made
Oh
everything.
my God, that is pretty grimy, dude.
I mean, they're still clean groceries,
Are they?
Are they?
Look,
Are they?
I did have I did have some visitors over. So Mercedes, who writes for Jalopnik.
I thought
Yeah.
you were gonna say you had some like animals
Yeah.
fucking
Oh,
eating
I'm
your
sure
groceries.
there
How did
were.
that not
No,
happen?
I'm sure he was not the first to eat
that has
any
not
of the things
happened.
in
No,
there.
no. There are some small issues. So Mercedes came
issues.
and visited, and I had to offer. You offer people drinks when they come over, right?
Yeah.
And she had to wait for her water to melt, which is not optimal,
Dude.
Because you wouldn't keep it indoors, like humans have
Yeah.
been doing
Yeah, I know.
since the post-Neolithic era.
So
Yeah,
silly.
it's not normal.
That's amazing.
I mean, I'll admit that on certain trips I've taken, it has benefited us to leave things in cars. That
We were
are
literally
meant to be-
camping.
We were literally
camping.
That's
just
right.
like-
Zach,
that's no
Zach
different.
reminds me, we were literally camping.
Yes. David wasn't camping. This was his home.
This is great.
And I don't mean to embarrass you, David, but
No,
that's
it's
exactly
fine.
what I
Great.
intend
I
to
deserve
do.
it.
In
That is
hopes it'll
wild.
change things.
Look, if I were worried about embarrassing, like half the stuff I write is just.
Where do you
basically
store your
embarrassing
clothes? It's got to be a funny answer. It's got to be.
In the fridge.
Right. In the fridge.
He just
like
gets
a
him out of the
hanger.
dryer every time he eats
I mean,
something.
honestly.
I nailed it?
I used to do that. I would forgive that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Anyway.
my God. So this is what we can look forward to.
Yeah, this is what you get in the
Autopian,
Autopian. A lot of
No, there's-
Did we talk
great
about
tips
cars?
for
I don't
living.
remember.
In theory,
Yeah,
I
somewhat.
think we have.
Yeah, we
Are you guys doing other media besides just writing?
Yeah, we're gonna do video. We may go into podcasts. We may do anything we can. We want to do car shows. We want to do some physical events. Like we want to do as much community stuff as possible, but definitely video.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about like how this came up, right? Like
Okay.
this whole idea. Jason and I had been writing for Jalopnik for a gazillion years, pretty much.
I've been in there 10 years, and then like 6,700 posts is what.
Get
like,
the fuck out of here. 6,700
6,700. Yeah, like 50 whatever posts. Like a lot of.
Amazing.
That is a lot of posts.
It's a lot of writing.
Yeah.
And
is
with
that the record?
It
I mean,
might be. I don't know.
That's
actually.
got to be Jalopnik, right? No question.
It's got to be the Jalopnik
No question.
record,
It
right?
might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I put a lot, and they're very personal. Like
And they're not like little short. They're
There's
typically
new stuff.
some of them
but
are little
words.
short
Some of
ones.
them are, but a lot of things are like stuff I make up, or they're things I've been thinking. Like they're personal. And so one of the things that kind of triggered this is the management of the company decided that images would not show up on these posts anymore unless you were like a Kinja member and signed up, which means now when I send out a link, unless I've gone through and done this stuff to attribute things, you get a post without images. And I realized images are a big part of what I do. I do a lot of design, I do a lot of drawing, and for so many of my posts not to have it, it just kind of hit me. I don't have control over a huge body of work.
Like 7
that
years
I
of your
produce.
stories have no images now.
Yeah, a
Wow.
lot. And that's
wow.
and I went through as many as I could and tried to update it so it would work, but you can't do it. There's too many. And it was a little alarming, and realized I'm not in control of all this work I did. And David was having similar thoughts.
Well, I mean, for me, it's like, I'd been there for a long time, and what's next, right?
Yeah,
What's
where do we
next?
go?
Let's do something. Let's make something. Let's do something challenging. You know,
I don't
I
wanna-
can only fix up so many shitbox FCs. We gotta
Yeah.
get a challenge in another area. So
We
But
just
yeah.
wanted something where we had some ownership of the stuff
Yeah.
we were doing. And and the ads on Jalopnik have gotten kind of out of control. Things that we had no say over. When they changed
Well, it
layout,
always
they
seems like that company is just. It seems for one reason or another, there's always some level of stress.
I've been there since the
it was
Gawker
like,
era.
that's what I'm saying.
Since,
Like it's
Hulk Hogan sued us out of business,
Yeah.
and then the other companies. There's a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
We're
I
having
forgot
having
about
Alyssa
that. Yeah.
Walker on Friday, who was a Gawker
Oh,
writer.
Alyssa, yeah, sure.
Who writes
yeah.
for Curbed.
Oh, I love
She's
Alyssa.
fucking
She's fantastic.
great.
Please tell her hello for
Yeah,
me.
she's great.
She's great.
now we have to admit the company did treat the two of us well. Like really
They
let
left us alone,
let
and
us
they-
write whatever we wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no,
true.
but
Yeah.
it always seems like it's like the other shoe is always about to drop or something like that.
Yeah, and look, the writers we worked with with I love. I'm not going to say anything bad about any Jalopnik writer because I've loved all the people I've worked with. We've had good editors, but the level above makes decisions that we had no say in
Sure.
that affected things in ways that we would not have chosen.
And to have 7 years of your images go vanish, you go,
That's a big
I
deal.
really have no
I have no
control over
control.
this
I've
at
done
all.
this exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
like you remember those Will It Baby posts, right?
Yeah.
It's your son. In
Yeah,
these,
exactly.
In these pictures.
My
and-
kid literally grew up in sort of semi-public on these sites as like all these articles I did.
And I
Yeah.
write these stories about trips I take and people I meet. And the thing about writing, especially in like blog format, it's so personal. Like
Yeah.
your soul is you're given your soul, and so it's to not own it is just it's almost like there's something about it that just makes you feel terrible.
Yeah.
Well, now it's like a newspaper story from the 1840s. It's like, will it baby? And it just, it genuinely loses a lot to not have
Yeah,
images,
I need-
especially
it's
in
right.
yeah.
It doesn't work.
No,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I don't know. So and there's just things like I didn't like. Where do you go? Like I'm not good at doing anything else other than this. Nobody else. This is what I want to do, and I don't want to be EIC of anything because I want to write, I want to draw, I want to keep doing the things I'm interested in doing. So we were thinking, well, what would make sense? And we thought maybe we just need to start our own car site.
Sure.
And just do we know there are people who like the stuff that we do, and we want to serve them and give them this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
We've had so far a lot of support and
it's been great, actually. Like even in this first, this big long intro post, it's like the only thing we've had on there. But we have 1,000 comments already from people, and there's people who there's communities of people who don't fit into the usual car guy things that find something in what we do, and it's just fun, and we just
Good.
want to, keep doing it.
Good.
Yeah, I think it is going to be good.
Good.
And then we came to Beau because we had actually David and I had reached out to some. And I'd started businesses before, like on a shoestring, and in the early 2000s, I lost a lot of money on this webcasting thing years ago. And I know what it's like to work with a VC company. Like we had some angel investors that put this CEO in the company, and it was not great.
Yeah, early discussions involved companies they want to protect their investments, right?
Yeah.
So
But
they want
all
to
these
put
com-
management
Whereas
in place.
Beau doesn't give a fuck.
Beau's motives are different. Beau's motives are he wants to do it for what it is. He wants to tell these stories, show these things. He gives a damn about the cars.
See, it's different to have a manager who knows nothing about cars telling you what to do, and having someone who knows a ton about cars and understands the vision.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Sure. That's good.
So
And
this-
it's fun. That's what this
bet,
is all
exactly.
about. It's having fun with cars. That's all I ever
Well, you
think
get to,
about.
and you
and
get to
do.
divert you divert from the monthly sales figures and whatnot.
Exactly.
Can I tangent and ask you about
Yeah.
the car business
Of course.
in February of 2022 right now?
the
I've taken
weirdest-
the unpopular position of defending dealers because I feel like for the last almost our entire lives, people have gotten so used to beating up dealers for price, getting things for less than MSRP, and that is the standard. And now that the supply chain is fucked, inventory's low, cars, especially enthusiast cars, are hard to get, dealers are charging more for them, and everyone is beating up the dealer now for the other side of the market that they've enjoyed for 20 years. And so what is it like to be a big car dealer right now in this situation?
It's a really weird time, and look, just like anything, there's those that do it right and those that try to take advantage of situations. We've got a very unique supply and demand issue right now, and we just can't get products. So
Yeah.
it's a weird time. It's very kind of you to defend car dealers. I don't know that car dealers need a lot of defending, but
No, I mean, look,
yeah.
they're not all. Some of them have earned their reputations. I happen to have had great experience at your store, and I pay MSRP at your store. But I just think that people quickly forget that for as long as a lot of us can remember, the standard was to get cash on the hood, get these deals, and now that supply is short and the shoe has gone on the other foot a little bit, people are taking it out on the fucking greedy dealers.
Well, it used to be the razor and razor blade theory with a lot of the big public companies. That was lose a lot of money selling cars, and then you make it up on service and used cars and things like that. And that was their business model. And that kind of forced somewhat of the industry. And now it's kind of going the other way. To hear like Mike Manley say, "Well, discounts are a thing of the past," and I don't believe that for a second, by the way, because I think as soon as supply starts or the factories start churning out cars, it's going to get competitive again, and you're going to see prices come down. In fact, prices are coming down, right now too. But you never know. It's with this chip shortage, it's weird that can happen, and then you get something like the Porsches and Volkswagens catching fire on the boat.
I got a car on the boat.
No shit, really?
We've talked about it a few episodes in a row.
No!
But the Boxster Spider I ordered in August is on the boat.
You're gonna go out in
it's done.
like a catamaran.
It's done. So
It's
done.
They're all donezo. All the cars are a loss.
It's a terrible
But
situation.
it happens.
But we'll get through it, and now ordering cars, so that's becoming a lot more common. Nobody would order a car before, and now we've got literally thousands of orders. So,
do you think that's because of excitement for new product, or just because their inventory isn't there and people want a car anyway, so they're ordering it?
It's both.
Yeah.
So we've got Broncos and Mavericks and Mach-E's and Lightnings crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got
How many orders on the books for the Lightning?
It's either 1,000 or 1,200.
For your store?
For our
Yeah,
store,
that's a
our
lot.
first allocation was like 34.
Oh,
Really?
God,
Yeah.
wow.
Has it happened yet?
Yeah.
No. You got
Our
trucks in?
No. Our first allocation,
it's
given our
coming up.
numbers,
Yeah, yeah.
and then they start.
34.
Yeah, out of over 1,000.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I heard one Chevy dealer's got like 6,000 Z06 orders.
When did people start pre-ordering cars they've never driven before? When did that become
I
like
think that's
really...
a weird thing to do, personally.
Yeah.
I did it
Oh.
Yeah.
through Mr. Boeckmann here,
Yeah.
and I have to say, not through anything you guys did, but it didn't go well.
What was the car?
The Focus RS. I bought it, I ordered it without driving it, and I took delivery of it, and I realized that the seat was not comfortable for me.
Yes,
and
Gotta
my
drive
back.
the
that
car.
car
Yeah, I
is
hate to
so
say it. Yeah.
physical.
It was a fucking
Yeah.
disaster.
Oh,
Actually.
sorry
sit in
about
the
that.
car.
I
No,
remember when you
you
got
didn't
that.
do anything. I ordered the car. You sold me the car. Like it wasn't.
These pre-orders
It had nothing to do with you.
they're
It was a
nuts.
badly designed seat.
They should maybe almost have seats or mock-ups of the interior at a dealership that you can just sit in and feel
Yeah.
the dimensions, because it's so physical.
I learned my
We never
lesson.
had this issue
Never
before.
happened.
like shoes.
Nobody ordered a car. I mean, unless you're ordering
Yeah.
exotic or something like that, a Porsche.
Or you'd try one out and then order it. Like you'd get in it and see because it was
almost
there.
no
that
one.
didn't happen. Though,
Almost no one. I
Wow.
mean, literally, almost like never. I can't remember ordering.
And now
I
it's
mean,
a-
this was a truck or something special, but no,
Right.
you wouldn't like order a Focus.
You always could though, right? Like there was nothing. Like if you
I mean,
really
do you think
wanted
it's because
to.
people take the words of folks like myself and how good, delightful, or bad something is that they're willing to order it, having not driven it?
But everything is very unique to a person as well. Like that
completely
seat.
agree.
So I think it is kind of. I think it's kind of crazy to drive a car you've never driven.
Is it because
You
there's
know?
such a demand right now, and then people just want to get in line? So they're like, well, if I
think
order
you
it
gotta
now,
wait.
I'm at least going to be in front of the person who's behind me.
That's true. And some vehicles you can drive now. So we keep it, Bronco demos and Maverick demos and those types of things. And, Mach-E. But
You should at least sit
a
in
Lightning.
it. At least
no.
sit in the fucking thing.
And at least with like a Lightning, it's going to be an F-150 truck.
Right,
so it's not
right.
completely foreign of what it's going to, look like and feel like. But
Yeah.
Like a Bronco's an all new body style. Like
Yeah.
if you just order one side and seat, you have no idea if you like the way it feels to sit in.
you might find some things about it that you might
can't reach a
you might
pedal the right
hate
way
or
or
yeah
whatever.
or love or
that
whatever.
one came out pretty rad, actually.
Broncos are cool. No, Broncos are cool.
They did it right.
I
like
drove
it.
it for the
Very
first
happy
time.
with it.
Beau let me drive the one over here, and I actually thought it was great.
Yeah.
It drives really good.
Fantastic
Yeah.
dash UI design is really
Yeah.
good, and the rubber on the buttons, there's like a row of them, just feels great.
Very
You
satisfying.
got to take the doors off.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we haven't taken the doors off.
It's
just too
really
cold.
easy.
Really?
I took the doors off in 5 minutes. It's so easy.
Yeah, there's like this weird tool, like this conical shaped tool that seems kind of like an afterthought. You have to thread it in to line the door up to put it back in.
It's
you know what I'm talking about?
not.
You don't
it's
have
not,
to
You don't
use it,
have
though.
to.
Oh, you don't have
can
to.
do
Oh,
it
you can
without
do it without it,
You
okay.
can, but it's. I don't. If you don't have two people, you want to use the cone thing. If you got two people, you don't need the cone thing.
okay.
It also says that you should put painter's tape on
Does
the
it?
hinges just in
In
case.
the manual it says that?
Yeah, yeah, and you don't need to do that.
Yeah,
Zach, that's where I saw you, right? At the Bronco thing, right?
Oh yeah, in Austin.
They did a really nice job with that truck.
You remember the two-door though? The braking on the two-door when you take a turn.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's something.
I've
It almost
on
like
that.
wants to.
It turns. It adds
Out.
to your turn. It's like, oh, you want to turn? I'll help you out.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
right. We're gonna drift
too much
this.
turn. I don't know if it's something with like the brake setup or the programming or what, but it was almost like it slowed down the inside front wheel to pull you in more.
Same direction every time?
Whatever
Yeah, I mean,
direction you were
if you're
turning.
turning in on a two-door, especially I think I was driving the bad lanes. So it's a tall, short wheelbase. Like it's
Yeah,
going to be
yeah.
squirrely under braking.
Yeah.
And so if you're turning and you have to hit the brakes hard,
Mid-corner.
Yeah, mid-corner. That front end darts inward. It's
Yeah.
like you're about to. It feels like you're about to pirouette.
Yeah, it does some interesting stuff.
but
The Outer
stability
Banks
control
one
fixes it.
two-door that we had didn't really have that because Zach was like, prepare for this.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then it didn't happen when you go back to like regular wheels and tires.
Oh,
without
yeah,
the,
maybe that tire size
Yeah.
thing.
But they've done a nice job with that car.
Oh, exactly.
It's a good
Ford's
product.
been
It's
killing
awesome.
it lately. I'm proud of
Yeah.
him.
And I like my Mach-E.
Good. It's a great car.
It
I
is
love driving that
a
thing.
lovely car. Yeah. It's very, very nice.
Do you see a lot of the Tesla people are shitting on the knob on the touch screen? Like there's a lot of. Well,
I like the knob.
I
like
love the knob.
I
You
think the
gotta have a
knob-
couple.
I think
Gotta
it's
have a
cooler
knob.
to have the knob on the screen.
You know the fun bit of trivia about that knob?
No, what about it?
You know about the knob, right?
Yeah. What trivia are you talking
It's
about?
glued onto the screen. It's a capacitive thing on the screen underneath the knob.
okay.
There's no electrical
connection?
It's not an electrical connection through the screen.
Holy
So
shit!
it's
You
like-
could
your
fucking
finger-
you could razor blade the knob off and do a thing with your finger.
So it's all-
if you
oh,
wanted
that's
to.
fascinating.
It's purely for people who want the knob.
So wait, so the actual sensor is through the touch
Yes.
screen elements themselves.
Yes.
So you know what?
You can have a
I
button,
didn't.
too.
I knew that it was
didn't
a,
know
it was
that?
a whole
No.
screen. I didn't. Now it makes
Yeah.
total
You can
do that
sense.
with
Of course
physical
it does.
buttons, too, right?
Yeah.
You could you could put a
Jeez, I
physical
should know
button
that.
on there too. That
Oh,
was
I'm
just
embarrassed.
at a
You got
location
me.
you have a software button behind it.
Yeah.
God damn, what a good idea!
Isn't that cool?
That's
That's
so
a smart
clever.
idea.
That's so
Volkswagen
clever.
engineers right now are frantically trying to design stick-on sliders for the.
That would be great to sell like a kit of buttons that just.
Yeah,
stick
exactly.
on
Wouldn't that
there.
be funny?
That would
Turn
be
your whole
funny.
touchscreen into like the Pontiac Grand Prix steering wheel.
The identical little
Big
chiclet black
chunky
buttons. Oh my god, what a great idea!
How
We're gonna make
hilarious.
millions.
That's a good
Like
idea.
unyoking the plaid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Does anyone make like a clamp
Yes.
on?
Yes.
Oh good.
Yes.
It's
they
not
do.
clamp on, it's a full
Oh,
steering
full
wheel
steering.
replacement, and it's really expensive.
I like
clamp
the, I
on
like
would
the
be
clamp on
pretty
idea.
A
Like a
clamp-on
clip
would
on
be
tie.
funny, with, like
Just-
wing nuts in the side.
Or just take like a coat hanger and
Yeah.
just zip tie it to the top. Yeah, look, here we go.
Oh,
$3
yeah,
grand.
shit, look at that. That's $3
grand?
grand.
$3 grand.
Oh my god.
Just get a clamp on one with some set screws in it.
I would rather just go to a junkyard, buy like a Pontiac Bonneville wheel, and like hose clamp it
Yeah.
to the.
Somebody's got to like the yoke, right?
I don't know how you would.
I've gotten into a bunch of fights with people on Twitter
Yeah.
and about it, and
But have they driven the yoke?
What's
I've driven the Yoke, and I
Yeah.
think it's awful.
Somebody's got to like it.
There are a couple people that have attempted to defend it.
Yeah.
None of them have actually been able to. No, they've driven it, but none of them have been able to articulate why it is an improvement over a round wheel.
Well-
'Cause a bunch have said you get used to it,
That's not an improvement.
which is not
very
a
different.
defense.
It's a novelty feature, right?
Yeah.
There are some things
But it's
that.
a novelty feature that impairs the enjoyment of the vehicle.
It
I'm
makes
sure
it
there
worse,
Are,
yes.
but here's the thing:
Yeah.
a lift kit on a car makes a car worse in every way.
Now, this is a
Braking,
good argument.
Steering, handling, everything.
Well, but it does-
But it's about
if you
aesthetics.
take-
it's about the cool
But I was
factor.
gonna say,
But
but
if
it makes
you,
it
it
look
has
cool.
Or going over
ostensible
stuff.
use though.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it does
it's
take
a
it off
Theoretical
real quick.
use, yes.
If you never drive it, like if you just have a lift kit,
Yeah, most people though they just want to look cool, right? No one's going off road. Most people
still
aren't
doesn't
going
mean
off
it's
road.
better.
In my
But you're not
experience,
trying to look
you-
cool with a yoke steering wheel.
It's
I mean,
fucking
people
dumb.
think it. Yeah,
In
look,
my
I'm not gonna
opinion, you
stop
can
defending it,
prove
but
how
I get
dumb it is by applying it to any other car. Take
exactly.
any other car and cut the top half off the steering wheel and go,
Is it better?
is this better now?
No.
Didn't you try to drive the Knight Rider car?
Oh, Collins did. Andrew Collins
I drove
did.
it. He
Okay,
and I
you
broke
drove.
down on the 101.
Okay, what was that?
How'd
built
that
like?
go for you?
Oh, it wasn't good.
I drove the George Barris Batmobile
Yeah.
for
yeah.
a TV show,
Wow.
which has the top of the fucking
Yeah,
wheel.
yeah.
And I went to make a because for video you
Yeah.
got to make U-turns. I went to make a U-turn. I grabbed some air and almost rammed that motherfucker
shit.
into a Jersey barrier because there was nothing there.
I've driven like a dragster with like a butterfly. It's the reason it's
yeah.
that way is because you don't ever
turn.
really turn it because you're
it's
not
dumb.
supposed. It's such a bad idea. I don't.
Wow.
Don't get it. Anyway,
Yeah.
the physical physical knob
The term
is cool.
reinventing the wheel is there for a reason.
And it's a good idea if you
should
end up
live
with a
by
wheel
it.
at the end.
Yeah. Like you must have some old shit. Like that 3-wheeler thing, the Leon,
should tell
whatever.
him.
But do you have anything that looks like a car and should feel like a car, but drives completely different from how a car is known to drive? Like a Model T or something like that?
He's got one.
We
You know
do
what?
have a Model T, and that does drive and start it. It's a
Totally
weird
different.
thing. Yeah. It's not like driving an automobile.
You know what I'm most
You
taken
get
by?
used to it, though, don't you?
No,
No.
not at all.
So this week I plan to drive something Beau got that I'm in love with, and it's kind of fitting this. It's called a Sunbeam Mabley. It's the first Sunbeam. 1901, right, Beau?
1901.
Okay, so it's like if you designed a car,
How
but
do you spell
did
Mabley?
Mabley.
Okay.
So you'll see what I'm talking about here. It's like if you in 1901, things were understood how
Jesus
cars worked.
Christ.
This
Look
is
at
like
wheel is a diamond?
It
is. A diamond, you got it.
And offset, so it leaves 4 tire tracks.
Get
like
the fuck
everything
outta
is
here.
offset.
What a bizarre
You
design.
drive in the back facing sideways.
Whoa.
That back seat facing sideways.
super cool.
Is how you drive. It's like he.
And
just,
the
Is it
passengers,
rear steer?
rear
front
steer and
rear.
front.
They both those move.
Look
for
at this
handling.
photo. These people look terrified.
They should be. It's
It's terrifying. Yes,
So I think that beige one is the one you have, isn't it, Beau?
that's the one.
Really?
Yeah. And
Oh
there's
my
4.
God.
They built like 150. There's 4 surviving in the world. It's just like he just didn't want to listen to anything anybody had done ever when it comes to not just cars,
That
but
is the
moving
Yoke right
vehicles
there.
in general.
That's the
the
Yoke.
yoke. Like I have a different idea, not better idea. It's just.
Wow.
The
It's
seating
amazing
is
they made it
amazing.
to another car. Sorry, what?
It just looks like they're all sitting on a train and they picked up their little seat and just dropped
kind
it on
of.
some wheels.
But like, why would you have? Is there any rational thought? Like, I'm gonna have the guy driving being back and facing sideways with it.
There's no other car where you actually
Why would you do that?
shoulder to shoulder facing the opposite direction.
opposite- yeah.
So weird.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try to get it started this week, and I'm gonna try to drive it around.
Yeah.
Which
What
I'm
is
very
it?
excited
Is it
about.
is it gasoline?
Yeah.
Is it some
Yeah.
steam
That's
thing?
cool.
Maybe
Oh, no, it's
paraffin
gasoline.
or paraffin, otter oil. Like who the fuck knows? But I think we
like-
can run gas through it.
When you have cars like that, do you just try to put gas in them and see what happens, or do you have some alternative fuel thing you have to run?
Were we supposed to pick an alternative fuel?
No, most of
No,
this
just
are-
gas.
Not
huh?
for like environmental
They were
reasons,
using,
like
like-
literally for like whatever the fuck
Honestly,
makes it run.
non-gas thing wasn't common. They were using like Lagroin, which was like a proto-gas or
Yeah.
a gas, like close enough to gas. Kerosene was unusual. I do know of one car that was the only car I think of that was designed to steal fuel because it was designed to run on what they called city gas, which was streetlight gas. So it had a tap on it and a hose. So you would park, go to a streetlight, hook into that. And there's no way to pay for it. I love it. So it was a car designed to steal gas
my
from
God,
the
that
city.
rules.
And then it ran. This is in like late 1800s. Brilliant idea though.
Fantastic.
So smart.
Oh, that's awesome. I like
free
that.
gas.
I guess you could run it off your stove too, probably if you want
That's
to.
amazing.
The smart
You ever
thing
tried
is-
like a turbine car?
No.
It's my dream to try a turbine car. I'd really like to.
Jay's got one, right?
I know, but I'm not trying to ask him to drive his shit. I'm not brave
Steve
enough.
Lato could
Yeah.
probably find someone who's got one.
Probably,
think
right?
so?
Yeah.
Or like Myron Vernus might know
Yeah, what if
someone who's
Myron
got
has
one.
one?
I don't
Right.
think he has one, but
No.
they're very
wonder if
rare. I think there's only
Jeff
2 or 3.
Lane have anything like
One
that?
just
Oh,
sold
maybe.
too.
Really?
Yeah, it sold privately. It was-
Really?
yeah, and never found out how much it sold for though. It had to be millions.
Jay has a turbine motorcycle.
Whoa, Jesus.
That thing is insane.
It
I
is
remember when he
fucking
first
so
started that up.
shady.
Oh shit!
He's got
I hope
like
he's
a-
never. I mean,
He rides
Yeah,
it.
the
I know.
He's
It's,
ridden
it's
into Malibu.
insane.
The Y2K it's called. Yeah. It
And
has a
it-
helicopter turbine in
What?
it. It's fucking
How big
shady.
is that? Like, what's the diameter? Like,
It's not like
Hot?
It's like yeah, there it is.
And it is loud.
It's very loud. It's
Yeah.
not that much bigger than a regular.
Yeah, it looks
Look at the
pretty good.
exhaust pipe though. It's like a 5-inch
oh
can.
yeah, look at that thing. It just must be cooking your testicles the whole time, though, isn't it?
I don't know.
I mean, Jay's had his kids. He's probably
his
fine.
has a like an LED license plate on the back that says like "Stay back 200 feet," like jet wash or something.
Oh,
something like
man.
that. It is crazy. But he's brought that to Cars and Coffee before. When he rolls
amazing.
up in that, it sounds like an airplane is about to crash into the car show.
They must have had a prototype first, didn't they?
That thing, I think,
Yes.
probably is a prototype, don't you think?
His might be. I don't know. This $270,000 super bike is one of the fastest in the world.
That sounds terrible.
Marine
Two goes
turbine
250.
technology, 250 miles an hour.
What?
Hell
It reminds me of
no.
that old timey photograph on the salt flats of the
flappy.
guy who's
Oh, yeah.
naked riding the motorcycle.
So this thing has a $125,000 Rolls-Royce Allison helicopter engine making 420 horsepower. That is
So is it
shady.
propelled by exhaust or spinning the wheel by a shaft?
No, it spins the wheel.
Spins the wheel.
It spins the wheel. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Because
thing's
go up to the top, someone was doing a burnout. You
You need a spinning
wheel
wheel for
power
that.
to do a burnout.
Right. Oh yeah, there you go. Man, that's bonkers. Man.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking of Myron. I sold him my scimitar,
Did you?
which I feel like because I was just sitting in my yard. But Myron's an interesting guy. I'm glad to hear his name come
yeah.
up. But have you been to his collection in there, Ohio?
I haven't, but
It's
I
so
retrieved a
good.
car for him here.
Oh, did you?
He bought an Infiniti M30.
Oh yeah, okay.
And he was like, "Would you like go to get it in the valley?"
Yeah.
And I went to go get it, and I was like, "Of course, Myron, anything for you. I will
a
go get it."
charming
And
dude.
when I went up there to get it, I looked down because my plan was to drive it back here and then ship it to him.
Right.
It has 18-year-old tires on it when I get there. I'm
boy.
like, God damn it.
Yeah.
And I drove it back here anyway. I knew I shouldn't have, and it was like driving on wood. It was like moving. Oh, it was so terrible. Put good tires
Myron's
in
a
the car.
patron, by the way.
Is
Is
he?
he a patron?
Of course he is. He always supports.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's a great
Do
guy.
we have a lot of Patreon questions?
Like 6,
Oh,
7.
okay, cool.
All right,
we got
let's hear.
we got a few from our Patreon
All right,
for the boys. Of course, if you want to ask questions to the show, watch the live show. Not wait for the Tuesday, Thursday schedule. Become a patron at patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast. Alan says, Jason, what's an article you've always wanted to publish, but the bosses at Jalopnik never greenlit?
You know, there's one of them. There was one article that I wrote, and then Patrick George, I love him, great guy. When he was editor, he refused to do it. But then the day he left, we ran it, and I thought it was
condom
pretty
one, right?
innocuous. Yeah.
The
So
what?
it was about condoms. So I was just basically realizing Trojan's a common condom. And I remember, oh yeah, Trojan's a car company, and I just went through and found every car that shared the name with a condom company. Ramsey's,
that's like a
Trojan.
super Jalopnik
Wow.
article.
It just
Why would
felt-
you not run that?
Exactly. But Patrick refused to run it, and then the day he left, we actually ran it. And,
How was the traffic?
Actually, it was pretty good, actually. Condoms, people want to know about condoms. And there were interesting cars. Like a Ramsey's was this weird little Egyptian car that was a Reliant-based little fiberglass guy. Trojan makes cool cars.
Oh my
So
God,
they were like...
Egyptian cars. No,
Yeah,
that's something I've
Egyptian.
never really explored.
Reliant was big into like starting motor industries in little countries. Well, not little, but like countries that didn't have it.
Yeah.
So like Sasito in Israel, they started. It was Reliant. Ramsey's in Egypt. There's Anadol in Turkey. So they had like this weird seed program because they used fiberglass bodies that were easy to get started. So all of these things are kind
Was
of
it badge engineering or were they unique cars?
They were unique, but they were loosely based on the prime, tried and true Reliant technology. But it was interesting. Holy shit! And there's Myron
Myron.
Verse's name right there.
Oh yeah, Myron says Jason and David. We'll go back to Sean. Zach.
Yeah.
Jason and David, how interactive do you view this new community you're creating, both online and in person?
Very.
It's what we're all about. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the big thing here. It's what we loved. What we've loved about Jalopnik is it's a community.
Yeah.
Commenting system.
We were
solid
just on the
events, car
Yeah.
shows.
We've been listening to we were just talking to the people doing the IT and the back end to make sure the commenting system is what our users want, which is like they got to be able to engage with one another, trying to get it so they can put pictures up and all this kind of thing, because that's important. We want as much interaction as possible. Every time we write an article, half of the important stuff is the interaction that goes on afterwards. We want to do car shows. Beau's been great about coming up with ideas for car shows we might do.
We were just talking to Opposite Lock. They've Opposite hyphen Lock. That's their.
Oh yeah.
They're no longer part of Geo, so they created their own.
Oh really?
Yeah, Geo Media, and another move we wouldn't have chosen, kicked off the kind of the user forum that was part of Jalopnik called Opposite Lock. And we used, people, some of the writers in the site got their start writing things in Opposite Lock, and then they decided they didn't want to do that. So we're talking to them now, maybe
cool.
reestablishing a partnership.
Oh, that would be
like a
nice.
farm league. Like if someone's writing something, they'll have a place for it. Maybe we'll see it and bring them over. But it is
cool.
hugely important. Myron, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's a big thing we want to do.
And Beau knows how to have a good party.
Beau
Your new
does.
product launches are excellent.
Well, thank you, sir.
You still got that Cuban guy that rolls cigars?
I think we do.
I
Yes.
fucking love that shit. Dude was rolling them right there. It was awesome.
That's pretty amazing.
One of my favorite stories to tell happened at the at your launch party for, I think it was the Vantage Zagato.
Oh, right on.
Or it was an Aston Martin thing. Rick Yuan, who played Johnny Tran in The Fast and the Furious.
Oh, yeah?
And he was a Bond villain in the one, I think it was Die Another Day. He negged me for a photo in your showroom.
Oh, right
no
on.
photos today, bro. It's like, oh, excuse me.
man.
Excuse me,
Shut
Johnny.
you down?
Excuse me, Johnny Tran. Sorry.
Bo, you'll
Wow.
take care of that.
Shut
for
me
you.
down.
It's good every now and then to
Ouch.
get shut down. It's good for the soul.
I know it is.
Yeah, it's
it is.
healthy.
This guy has not been in a movie in a long time. If I was him, I would take
Take
photos.
the publicity. Yeah.
Take photos with people who want to take photos with you.
Wow, that's pretty shocking.
Had nothing to do with the cigar roller or the sushi, both of which were excellent.
Oh, thanks.
Dan Mosqueda wants to know how the site layout will make ads work without trashing it up.
Yeah. Okay, so we planned locations of ads in there. We deliberately are trying to make it so the ads don't dominate the page. We have to have them because we're not trying to lose money on this thing. So we'll have them, but we're always going to be aware if it affects the user experience in a negative way. I think we're going to make sure that doesn't happen.
Do we all hate those pop-up ads that
I
follow you
hate-
everywhere?
yes.
I hate that.
I have
you know,
a few
you-
friends who write for The
Oh.
Drive, and
Yeah.
the ad situation on that site is no bueno.
No bueno.
It is like a ding, 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 ding. It's
Man,
not
recently
good.
Jalopnik was doing autoplay on some videos.
You can't do auto.
No,
play.
But we gotta have those really trashy ones at the bottom, right?
Like we can't make people losing jobs. Like can't do that.
No, none of those terrible ads. That's,
We're not gonna do
that's
that.
another point.
Yeah,
Those were the early things we
we've come
talked
to
about.
accept some ads. It's
Absolutely.
understandable.
Right.
But
I
like,
said the terrible.
yeah,
ads.
the autoplay and the pop-up.
Yeah,
No.
this is not going to
Okay.
be an ad-free experience, but it's not going to be invasive. It's not going to ruin your
We're
time.
not
there.
smart enough to have actually talked to sponsors yet or anything, though, so we're not that ahead of the games.
Although I
We'll
would
get
like
there
to
someday.
mention that I think Gary Duncan has pledged he will buy some ads on our site, which is very sweet.
Fantastic. All right, Gary. Thank you, Gary.
Sean says, David, do you think working as an engineer at an OEM made you a better journalist?
Oh, yeah.
And when hiring for the Autopian, would candidates with engineering backgrounds be attractive?
Made me a way better journalist, no question. For a number of reasons, being able to, explain how complex things work to a layperson. I have to say, people are ingesting all sorts of weird media these days. But if there's one thing that has sort of given me hope for this world, is that people still want to learn how shit works. Like that is still true. I'll write a 7,000 word deep dive on some Koenigsegg Gemera or something.
Or even basic stuff. Remember our door lock thing?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Why it is that you can't open a door and unlock it at the same time. You know how someone clicks
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Pull
follow
the button. Yeah.
And so I went to a junkyard, grabbed some locks, and just went through it and explained here's where the binding happens. Here's why it doesn't.
It's so complicated.
People want to know how stuff works.
so
Door locks are
complicated.
very complicated.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
And so that brings to the next question. I'm actively looking to hire engineers. And obviously, engineers are not the best writers, traditionally.
Yeah. Engineering matters, writing matters more.
But I also think that there could be more expertise in automotive media. To read how things work by people who develop them, like there's a lot of value there. And as someone who came from the engineering world and is now in media, working with engineers, that's something that I like to do. Even though some of the writing can be kind of really rough, I still enjoy it, and the dividends it pays off are tremendous.
Nice. Dante says, Jason, some of your content is lighting related. How did that start? What is the story there?
Okay, so I don't have a good explanation. I've always been obsessed with automotive lighting. Ever since I was a kid, noticing taillights, turn signals, like marker lights. It's a weird, I'm probably on some kind of spectrum, but it's always fascinated me ever since I was a kid.
Interesting.
And I can identify taillights, and I do write about it a lot. And one of the things I have to thank Jalopnik for, and one of the lessons we've learned, is you can make anything interesting if you're enthusiastic.
Sure.
Like if I had to pitch a story, because I've literally written about side marker lamps, and if I had to pitch a story to an editor and say, hey, I want to write a really deep dive on the side marker lamps that were used on like one model of car during a couple years and why I think they're fantastic. There is no way they would say, absolutely, the public needs to know. That would never happen.
Dude, you and I have written quite a few stories that were unpitchable.
Unpitchable.
Like straight up unpitchable.
Unpitchable.
And then they do crazy.
But the thing,
page
the
views.
thing you realize
That's a good
your shit's really
subcategory for the
entertaining, though.
website, the unpitchable.
Unpitchable
section.
stories.
Like,
yeah, we gotta have a tab.
Yeah.
The
I love
unpitchable
that.
stories. That's
But
great.
when I write about, like, I find like a Beetle taillight that was used only 2 years, and when I write and I'm excited about it,
Sure.
I'm not faking that.
Yeah.
It's too embarrassing to fake.
Yeah.
It's genuine, and people respond well.
Yeah.
And it's grown into this thing where, like, I'm the taillight guy, and I'm so happy to have that mantle. And I'm even branching it out into this weird fiction where I sometimes just to make things more fun, I'll write about a hypothetical taillight bar and the different subcategories of people, and there's always a lot of tension between, like, the trad reds who believe no amber rear indicators, and then, like, the am
hilarious.
bears, and, like, so it, like, develops. It's like developed its own little momentum, and I love it. And I have no intention of stopping. So there
That's
will be
funny.
plenty of tail light content, marker light, telltales, cornering lights, everything will be on.
So my
By the way,
aunt,
you know a lot about headlights too. I just want to
Headlights
throw
are
that
big.
out there.
And thanks to the word we've put out, we've gotten people who are working in standards and regulatory things can explain things. Like, the U.S. market is weird headlight lighting-wise.
I've heard they just allowed the European like laser lights.
Oh yeah, the
right?
laser lights were not
Yeah.
legal for a long time. We were the last to get rid of sealed beams.
Yeah.
Like, it took, like, Europe had all kinds of interesting shaped headlights since the 60s. We held on to sealed beams until, like, the early late 80s. Like, the Lincoln, there was that Lincoln that was the first one.
The
and
Mark
then
8,
Ford.
dude.
Yeah, the Mark 8. And then the Tars.
Mark
Ford
8's
actually.
Mark 8's rule.
Actually,
They were great.
They
You're
are
the
kind
first
of great.
person I've heard ever say that.
Mark 8's fucking rule.
Because I
They
remember
were
when those things
awesome.
came out, and it was like, wow, this
Yeah,
thing's
they were
rad.
sick. Yeah, they were sick.
They were. And Ford
5
actually was a
minutes.
huge pioneer in getting shaped plastic headlights to the American market. I don't know. So we've got people now I can go to and find out, like, why, like, that weird period in, like, 67 when side marker lights were just a light or just a reflector, and then you had to have both. We can find out the story behind it.
hilarious.
There was actually controversy when turn indicators had to go amber instead of just clear, and there were newspaper articles written about people who just weren't having it. Were like, this is terrible.
funny.
So yeah, I can go deep.
My aunt growing up was worked at Ford corporate in Detroit and was in charge of purchasing all the lights from Sylvania.
Oh wow!
And so she brought
They
home.
gotta talk.
Yeah, when I went to visit them, I was like really into cars as a kid. Fucking shocker. She brought home from the factory, from the studio in Detroit, I believe it was the Cobra 2 or Cobra 3 prototype. It was the SN95 with the different. Or maybe it might have been the Mach 1 prototype that had the prototype Sylvania lighting on it. And it was the first American vehicle, this was 1994, to ever have a xenon light in it. And it was a prototype. And it had, not only did it have xenon headlights, it had neon tail lights.
So cool.
And the whole trunk was full of batteries and computers and all kinds of shit. You couldn't put anything in there. That's amazing. And it had the Mistachrome paint job on it.
Oh,
and the
really?
Mystic Cobra didn't come out until 96. This was 2 years before that.
Oh, you're kidding.
We drove this thing around Commerce Township, Michigan, and people like
they go
almost
nuts.
ran off the road, offered money for
yeah.
it. Like it was super crazy. And she did that job for many years. She's now at Bombardier.
What an
doing it
amazing
with,
thing!
That
Holy
is.
shit!
Yeah, it was like I'll bring you. I'll
I wanna
find you
see
a picture
of that car.
I have a picture of it, like buried in my house. I will find it.
wanna
Oh,
see
find that.
Yeah, it's wild. It was
Yeah.
very, very cool stuff.
I love that she was just given a concept car to drive around for a while.
Yeah, I was like, it was.
I mean, yeah,
fucking
think
crazy.
about that. Would they do that? They
Yes,
wouldn't do that.
actually,
they would.
Oh
They
yeah,
do.
yeah. When I
I
was at
think they'll do
Chrysler,
it probably. Yeah.
I did a road trip in the Ram long hauler concept. You know, the one with that like extended gas. It was like an extra like 40-gallon gas tank.
The long haul.
Yeah. It's over over 1,000 miles of range.
Was that the whole point of that car?
It was a concept car, and
What
they
a
were just
weird
letting
concept
like
to
young.
go for.
They were just letting us check it out, and we drove it to St. Louis and back.
Is that it? Wow, yeah.
That's it.
It just had a 40-gallon tank and cup holders for a 128-ounce beverage. And other than that, it was
I
exactly
hope
the
it's
same.
your
Basically
whole
just
floor.
like, see that section there behind
Yeah,
the gas?
that just
added
gas tank?
section.
It's just for gas. It's a huge tank there. Yeah.
That's the fuel
What a
cell?
weird idea.
Get the fuck
Why
out
would
of
they-
here. Wow.
What was the thing?
the long haul. I mean, the whole thing. It was you can drive it far. That's the whole that's it. But it worked as a concept car. I don't know.
Wow.
That's the whole
Yeah,
That's so funny.
So we should mention David did the cooling system on the Wranglers you buy today was designed by our own David Tracy.
Well,
here.
it is not just one person who does that stuff.
all
It's a
alone,
big
David
team.
did
I
it.
wanna be
All
clear on
alone,
that.
just him.
He did it by himself.
I overheated.
in
one.
junior high school, I think too. Right?
David has had nightmares about that.
I
though.
have had nightmares about it. I was really young when I got to Chrysler. I was 22 years old, and I got there, and I was the systems integration responsible, which is like the lead cooling system architect for. At the time when I got there, there were a bunch of programs going on. There was Grand Wagoneer, there was Pacifica, there was the Cherokee. There were all these programs. There was Viper, then there was Wrangler, and I remember my boss. We had a team of 5. My boss was like, "Okay, who wants what? We've got Minivan, we've got all that." And I looked around. I was like, "Everyone wants Viper and Wrangler, right? Like that. Everyone wants this, right?" No one cared.
No one gave a shit.
And this is what I learned
bizarre.
working at Chrysler and just living in Michigan. Most people who work for car makers don't give a shit about cars. Like they live locally, they need a job.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe 20-25% at most at some companies. But the people who are car people. Like, you walk through the hallway, that's a car person right there.
Yeah.
But it's the minority. And it kind of gets frustrating sometimes.
That would
yeah.
be frustrating.
It's hard to imagine that being the case.
Yeah,
I just don't understand.
Just don't care.
That was a weird era for Chrysler. So it was.
Yeah.
So I was.
The fact you were that young and in charge is also.
That's an awful lot of
for frightening.
responsibility for 22.
I got there in
I know
2013.
what I was doing at
okay?
22. And geez.
So now I'm not, now I got to figure out the cooling system for the Wrangler. So that's not just like cooling all the engines. That's batteries for the mild hybrid. That's transmissions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get there. I'm like, all right. So I got to make sure the Wrangler doesn't blow up, basically. So how do you design a cooling system? What's the process? And their response was, you got to figure out what the process is. Write it down. And so then we have a standard process. And at this point, I'm like, holy shit.
They were like, actually, could you help us? Because we don't know.
So I'm like,
write it down.
I'm 22, turning 22. And I'm like,
crap.
not only do I have to figure out the cooling system for the Wrangler, I got to figure out how to design cooling systems, and that will become the corporate standard process.
So why was after
There's
all
some
the years?
guy at a dealer right now going, did a fucking college kid design this thing?
There's a reason for this.
But what were they doing for the first 80 years of the company?
So-
Yeah, did you get a last gen car to take apart at least?
Yeah. I mean, everything's based on last gen.
Yeah.
Carryover is the term they use for everything. And but there's a reason for this.
C, Dodge Charger chassis.
So there's a reason for this, right? Chrysler had gone through a number of bankruptcies, and a lot of expertise had left the building.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of cooling system engineers, they didn't write down how they did things. And so
is
they
that
took
possible?
their paperwork with them, or they took a buyout, VTIP, voluntary termination, whatever, incentive program. And then I get in there, and there is not a process for cooling system design.
Oh my
And
God.
it's not just, obviously it's not just, it's a bunch of people in the team who are coming up with standard processes. That was just kind of wild. I get there and I'm like, there's not a standard process for cooling systems.
I think people would be shocked to hear this.
That is,
It was wild.
That is, I am shocked here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
even.
I bet the Jeep dealers don't mention that when people are looking for new Wranglers.
No,
this is a
to be
cooling system
clear-
designed by a child.
So the way it
basically.
worked is like, we had a team of people who were going around trying to find the old timers who at some point had worked in the cooling system team.
You exhumed a dude to get some answers, right?
And
Like a Rolodex. What is this?
Is this why you drove from Germany to Istanbul? You were searching.
cooling system engineer somewhere.
You were searching for the placard of cooling systems that
Yeah,
explain.
he's
how to
living
do
as a
it.
recluse in
This
Istanbul.
guy went back to Bratislava and
Yeah, it was
He's the
very
Coptic
bizarre.
Pope now, and everybody loves him.
Sean Connery showed up. He's like, I know where you can find the map.
Yeah.
that's
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it was basically we run around the company, figure out who had designed cooling systems before, and ask them, okay, we have a Wrangler, we want the transmission not to overheat. Like, what's our worst case thermal test?
God.
And yeah, it's like, okay, it's sand, so you
Yeah.
need to design a sand test. Go. And it's like, it was.
So you had to come
bizarre.
up with the sand test that.
or find an old one and modify it. Yeah,
That's cool.
That existed somewhere. It was great. A lot of opportunity to.
I mean, yeah, you
responsibility.
make your mark on that.
That
thing.
is
Yeah.
crazy.
Do you
And to
even,
be
I don't even
clear-
remember being 22. And he was like,
Dude.
Right?
Yeah, no.
And I
You
should be
didn't want
clear,
me
like,
in
there are a
charge
lot of-
shit.
right? I can't imagine having any responsibility at 22. I was
I have
selling
to say there
cars
were a lot of really
because-
talented engineers there who were, it's not like the Wild West really. Obviously at that time there was some disorganization, but there are some
That's
great
intense.
engineers there.
Yeah. It's still a lot of-
You're the Zorro of the cooling system. when you
Our
walk in
last
that
one
building.
was for Beau. Prashant wants to know if you'd rather have a Mitsubishi Mirage or an equivalently priced Chinese car. I don't want any Chinese cars.
Well, as a Changli
Changli?
owner,
Yeah.
I've come to appreciate what the Chinese are capable of doing, and I would get a Chinese car, I think. And I think that they have. I mean, if you look, so what I like things exciting about China right now is they are. I feel like at the moment they're coming into their own design language, which I don't know if we've really seen before. And I think there's some really cool shit that they're coming up with.
Is there?
It's not the same. Like for years they were doing, like if we're honest, like a lot of knockoffs of Western stuff. But over the years they're getting more and more of their own design language. And I think what they're coming up with is actually really cool. Look at the. These are also a little derivative, but you know the Aura company that does those electric cars, like the Aura Cat. Okay, these are blatant
That
knockoffs.
Aura Cat is, yeah.
It looks like a Volkswagen Beetle. It looks exactly like a 70s era Beetle. But but they're doing it so well. And they have these other ones that look like halfway between it's called the Punk Cat.
Oro Cat?
O-R-A.
O-R-A. Oh, that's it, yeah.
And they have some that they feel like tiny
what is an Aura Cat?
Porsches. You'll see. So one thing, I like their unashamedness about this
This is beautiful.
I think this is a cool looking little car.
Yeah.
Like I think
That's
the
not
front
the
end
one that
feels
looks like a Beetle.
Porsche-like.
It looks like a Cayenne that's going to grow up one day to be a Cayenne.
I think they're kind of cool. But look up Aura.
It's a Cayenne tadpole, basically.
Punk Cat. Or a Punk Cat.
My friend Thaddeus, who just spent 5 years in Dubai, and he would travel around filming stuff in that part of the world, where wherever you go, your rental car is a Chinese car. And he would regularly send me these unbelievable videos of just shit in these cars. It was a car that looked almost like an RX 300 if you were drunk, but then you'd open the hood and it would be like a lawnmower engine.
I love
and
that.
you could see the ground, and they do these weird animations on the screens.
They're having fun though. Okay, so this obvious
that
knockoff.
is cool.
It's a Beetle, but they had the balls to do it.
They did.
And it's fun.
If fucking Gas built that, I would be all about it.
It is pretty rad, right?
It's fun.
That seems like something your boys would build.
Oh yeah.
And so I even wrote an article where I came up with
kind of rules, dude.
It does rule.
And the
And like
four-door
if
works with
VW
it.
decides to go after them,
really does.
Like so I have an out
It's like
for
a
them.
modern POW, Tatra,
Yeah,
VW.
okay, that's a good example. It feels like Pike Factory cars.
Yeah.
It's fun. They're just having fun. And I did find in
That fucking
Spain
rules,
in the early 50s was a company called Oryx that made a complete Beetle knockoff. It looked exactly like a Beetle. They only sold very few. It was a Spanish company. So my argument for the Aura people is, look, if VW comes after you, you just say, we have nothing to do with the Beetle. This is an Oryx 610 knockoff. Do your research, Volkswagen. And I think they'd be fine.
I'll give you points, Torchinsky. The Aura Punk Cat is pretty goddamn cool.
It's pretty goddamn cool. You drive that thing around.
I would fucking rock the shit out of that in Venice.
And
Dude,
great
if you,
names
if
too.
you built that, Beau, you could probably sell that for $100,000.
Oh, easy. And look
Will
at the
I
interior of
Am
that
would
thing.
give you $100,000.
Oh,
for that.
easy. He give me
Look at
300
this
for that.
interior. It's so
Wow,
overdone.
that is Art Deco as fuck, dude.
Someone's
That's
just
right.
having fun. Like, this is not a sober car.
It's actually not bad.
It's not bad.
Really
It's
not
cool.
bad.
It's cool. Like,
By the way, though, no airbags. No problem.
Yeah,
no
really?
airbags, no problem.
yeah. It doesn't look like there's an airbag in there. You got a horn ring, though. What do you want, a horn ring or an airbag? You want a horn
Pretty
ring.
cool, man.
And I think, so it's an electric drivetrain, probably gets like between 150, maybe I don't know if it does 200 range, but something decent enough. And it's electric, so it's torquey.
Dude, it rules.
does.
That thing's got LA written all over it.
So I feel like China's having fun. They're building fun cars,
All right.
and I'm 100% behind them.
Okay.
Oh,
All
that
right.
answers that.
There's your answer.
It does. All right. Last one is for Beau. John Paredes wants to know your angle on any update from the manufacturers on the chip shortage, when things might go back to normal. Any inside info?
I get the same bullshit from as everybody else. It's always getting better. It's about to get better. It's going to end, and then it just keeps going on. So right now, early 23 is what I've been told, but that keeps moving. And
I mean,
I don't know. It's bizarre.
Is the problem with this chip shortage thing that this is an older style chip that's not as good as the newest chips, and it's not worth investing in infrastructure to build them? Is that
No, they're
are?
investing in it. They're building factories right now in the United States to build chips.
and what are the chips for?
What?
Every single little thing, and this is what I learned recently, and I don't know enough. It requires a chip. So a car takes between 8 and 12,000 chips in it.
Is it that many? It's a
It's
lot.
something
That seems like a
ridiculous.
lot.
I could be wrong,
like
by
a
the way.
lot.
It's
Seems like a lot.
like every little thing requires a chip. So, and all electronics all over the world require these same chips.
I wish
So
the
there's
terminology behind a lot of this is not clear because
Oh.
like chip is a
This does.
it's
a
a
modern
very there's
car
a
can
lot
have,
of different
easily
kind
have
of
more
chips.
than 3,000 chips.
Yeah.
Well, you're not that far off. Not by commas.
That's
I
a
know
lot.
part of it happened pre-pandemic. All the car makers took orders away because they weren't expecting to sell many during the pandemic, and then all the consumer electronics people came in with huge orders. So they basically booked all the factories, and they are different kinds of chips because the cars tend to use like a simpler generation behind from a lot of these things.
Yeah.
And I'm not even. I wish they would be more specific about what these chips are. Like, are they ARM CPUs? Are they little glue logic chips? Like what? Or is it just all generic enough? I haven't found enough information like that. That may be something we'll do a deep dive in.
I think, yeah, like,
There we
what are
go.
the chips?
What are these
What are the
chips?
chips
'Cause
that
there's-
we don't have, and why don't
Because
we
I
have
deal
them?
with a lot of my hobby outside of cars. I play with like old computers and video game consoles. So I occasionally will need to replace like an old 7.4 series chip or a Z80 or 6502, like archaic crap.
Yeah.
Those you can get. I don't know. Are there like fabs that are still building these things, or is just everything new old stock?
It's got to. They must have had a lot of new old stock.
Maybe.
Because how many people who own a fucking Sega really are replacing the chip and
mean,
not just throwing it
yeah.
in the trash
Right.
when it goes bad?
Yeah, there can't be that.
But
Yeah,
that's
that could be new old
That
stock.
is a great subject to research. Because
But we should dig into this out.
I would
'cause-
like to read about that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I get asked about and it occurs to me that like I don't know what fucking chips are short.
everyone
what
says-
chips are short? I don't even know.
They say chips in this generic way, but that's actually way more complicated than you'd think. Now, I'm sure a lot of them are like ARM-based CPUs that literally everything uses.
There's an
But
engineer
there's so
out
many of
there
those.
who's just like watching this. Just
Yeah,
like,
hopefully
you
he's
guys
doing
idiots.
it like,
How
I
could you
know
not
this.
know
It's not
this?
that complicated.
Okay, so
Yeah.
email
You know,
tips
we'll figure
at
it out.
There you go.
theautopian.com.
You can
Tips
write
at
about it.
autopian.com,
Just-
that's
Just
right.
text me. Just let me know.
we will let you tell us everything you know, and we'll dig into this because
Yeah.
I'm confused. So I want to know.
Well, hopefully in a couple weeks we'll read about it in the Autopian once you figure it out.
Oh, we should talk about our launch date because we're doing. So we announced.
We
so-
haven't talked about our
Yeah,
launch
well,
date.
we
should
have
figure that out right now.
So just to clarify, we have
Should we
one
mute the
post
mics
on the
real
site.
quick and you guys can have a little powwow or something?
Honestly, we've always had this idea. We want to be as transparent as possible. So let the people hear. So the reason we announced before we were like ready with content is because David and I were working at Jalopnik. Legally, we can't do.
Oh yeah.
We have to keep a hard divide.
Yeah.
So we couldn't do Autopian stuff while we were there. So once we left, we were able to announce. So we wanted people to know because we can't just say we're leaving. We had to say what's happening.
yeah.
So we're leaving. We announced. So now we have this gap where we've got to
Build a team and-
build a team, which we're hiring people. We're building a team. We're getting everything ready, and then we're hoping late March.
All Fool's Day? That would
Well,
make sense.
yeah, is there an All Fool's Day in late March? That'd
No,
be good.
early April.
Oh, early? Oh, this is April. Well, we were thinking maybe 327 because there's a lot of good badges for that engine that we could
Oh
grab.
yes, there are.
So
Meh.
And if you run
Somewhere
late,
there.
there's a lot of good badges that start with 4 also.
yeah, there's four. Yes.
Thank you. Now we're talking.
Somewhere in that late March, early April range, I think we're comfortable saying we will start having daily content.
Sweet.
And you can come to our site every day.
Coming soon.
Where do people go if they want to submit writing?
Tips at theautopian.com.
Tips at theautopian.
Email.
Tips at autopian.com.
Oh, yeah, actually,
Oh, yeah.
Autopian or the Autopian.
Either
We've
fine.
got both, so you can use either one.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and guys, we're actively looking for. Even if you just want to
Everything.
freelance, we want to have a lot of voices. So we're willing to do the kind of thing where like maybe you have a regular column, maybe it's a one-time thing, whatever. So yeah, we want to.
Of course, I'm looking for engineers, so if you're one. you know.
Yeah, David's looking for engineers, all kinds. If you have a specialized skill in the automotive world and you just want to be a resource, or you're willing to be a resource, we want you. We actually we've got designers who work for OEMs who are willing to write for us under a pseudonym.
Oh, nice. That's
which
cool.
is going to be exciting. Same with engineers. So we're going to have those as a regular feature. So it'll be real, like the kind of content you just don't really see. Where I have
Good.
active engineers, active designers who tell us fascinating stories, and we'll protect them so they
dirt.
don't get in trouble. The dirt. The
Have you guys seen American Auto yet?
I haven't.
I haven't.
Good. I haven't watched it.
It got off to a slow start, but it's kind of funny.
Is it really? It's not bad, huh?
It's not bad. It is kind of funny.
Does it feel like it's?
I watched
written-
the first episode and I was like, "Ugh, I don't know about
But you
this.
stuck with it.
But then I got to like episode 3, episode 4, and it starts.
All right.
There's yucks in there.
Do you think they
for
have
sure.
insiders actually? Does it feel like someone actually knows what this is like inside there? Like.
I feel like there's at least one person that does have a bit of experience.
Okay.
There's specific there are specific references to shit that has happened.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I just like the
not
idea that they're
terrible.
targeting like car guys or car people, I should say, as a demographic for a sitcom.
Yeah. You don't have to necessarily, because it's basically The Office just against a backdrop of cars.
If
So
they need writers, we're available.
You don't really need to know that much about cars to find it funny or to understand what's going on. But it's just shit. They in one episode they have to make a commercial. In one episode they've got to get the cost of their car down to from $13,000 to $10,000 or something. And so it's just what are we cutting? And they end up cutting a lot. It's.
Don't you have a theory about that, David?
Absolutely.
Well, let's hear this because this is an important insider shit.
First model year. Everybody says don't buy first model year. That's a real thing. Buying the last model year also not a good call.
Interesting.
At Chrysler, they call it TCR, technical cost reduction. And it's all about reducing cost on an annual basis. So you'll have a percentage goal per year of cost you have to pull out of the car.
Oh, shit.
So
what do you want? Third model year? Second or third model year?
So, yeah, that would be ideal. By the final model year, they've pulled. Now, ideally.
This is very interesting.
Ideally, you pull cost in ways that the consumer doesn't notice. Ideally. So,
ignition cylinders. And
I mean, sometimes you'll.
Take the airbags out. Most people don't use
Why
them.
put carpet under the floor mat? You're never going to see that carpet anyway.
Yeah.
What's the
David
point?
hates our jokes.
No, they're just too fucking real, bro.
The scene on his face. This is grim acceptance right there. That's
during the Daimler era, it was really bad. MCMs, they call them, material cost management, and you can see it. There, the customers saw it. So Sebrings and calibers, grainless plastic, real rock hard. That was their whole initiative was pull cost.
Did they bake in shit they can cut out in the early years? Stuff they know is sacrificial.
Planned obsolescence.
Yeah, well, just
to be honest,
we know there's fat.
To be honest,
I
I bet you yes. Well, actually, in the early days,
You fluff it up early to cut it out
Well,
later.
there are other
Oh,
reasons why
God.
they do that. They fluff it up because they want to launch with a bang.
Yeah.
So they'll come out with features that they'll pull later, but they want to debut and say, look, hey, we've got this thing in the cargo area because they're feeling it's all about strong launch and then they can pull it later.
Is that why Tesla made the Yoke steering wheel? They're pulling costs.
They got about 60 degrees of cost there.
I think that's worse. I think it's that they're trying to tacitly imply that you're not going to need to use this wheel soon, when that's of course not remotely the case.
Don't get Jason started on that.
I mean, you know how I feel about all of the.
Oh yeah, it's a disaster.
It's a disaster.
We just had Riley Brennan here yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a very interesting 90 minutes with him. And
We'll still cover that on the Autopian because I still have a lot of opinions about how semi-automated vehicles are being marketed and what's happening because there's, and it's and of course the Tesla fan base is fascinating and
Energetic.
I want to be in a cult too.
Yeah, I had one actually tell me that 2 equals 0. Actually, literally said in a tweet 2 equals because it was
okay, let's be careful with the thing is Tesla fans. A lot of them were not car people at all before, so I'm glad that they're into cars at all.
Sure, I love people enthusiastic about what they drive.
Tracy. It's a great hedge.
Because it's going to happen otherwise.
Yeah, I
tire
know.
mentions are going to get insane.
They will. But
That's okay.
Dude did tell. So it was when they were doing the rolling stop thing. Remember the rolling stop?
Yeah.
So I don't even remember what my initial tweet was, but it's basically 2.5 miles is not stopping. A stop sign means stop. And this guy was saying it had to do with intention, and if the intention is a certain thing, then 2 in fact does equal 0. But the dude literally wrote 2 equals 0, which just feels like 1984-ish. 2 plus 2 equals 5. I love Big Brother.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
So that's part of the culture.
2
now.
ain't 0, folks.
It's not 0. I can
I
prove
love
it.
it.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Thanks
What
for
an
having
excellent
us.
show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks,
I
Zach.
always enjoy your company. I can't wait to go. What's the next party you're having? Can we come?
That's a great question.
We're
I don't
gonna
know.
do
I
an
plan a
Autopian.
party. We got to do an
Yeah.
Autopian party. Absolutely.
Dude, where we just fill the vault with shit boxes.
Yes.
Oh my God, it would be
Yes.
so great. It would be so great. Just fill your showroom with all the garbage we can find. It'd
be a good time.
It'd be really fun.
We
We're
We
not
have
just going
fun
to cover
plans.
garbage. There's a lot lot of great cars
No,
out there.
garbage
you
is
know?
more fun.
Yeah.
Garbage is more fun.
There'll be room for everything.
Yeah, everything.
I can't wait to read it. I will be a subscriber. I can't wait.
Yay.
And,
Well, thank
and I
you.
will continue to buy my cars from you.
Well, thank you,
Although
sir.
my Porsche is going to have to be replaced by somebody else, unfortunately. But
We'll figure out your Porsche.
when you buy a store, you don't have a store, do you?
Yeah,
he's
but
got
we got Porsche. We
Oh,
opened
you
last
have
year.
fucking- you. I forgot you did. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's all right.
My next
You can make it
Porsche,
up.
I will buy from you.
I'll turn
Sorry.
to Brennan.
And is Joe running it, right?
No.
No? Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry.
It's all good. Actually, my cousin Steve McCord runs it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know Steve. Good.
Yeah.
I've always had great experiences at Galpin stores. I will shamelessly plug them. They have not paid me. They have not given me any discounts. They have given me great service, though.
That helps the Autopian, so we're cool with that.
I buy the car. I buy the Fords from you, and then I service them at Airport Marina. So I don't.
that's-
bu-
well,
so I don't.
I
buy
can
it's
help you with
warranty. I don't want to drive up there for fucking warranty. It's
You
around the
come
corner.
visit me. We could have lunch.
We could have it just at your own personal Starbucks.
Yes,
Well,
exactly.
they have that great diner that makes a fantastic
I
tuna
love
meal.
the fucking diner
The
there.
diner
So
is
come on,
I
bring
do
it
love
on.
that diner.
I do
It's
too.
so great.
Love it.
We don't have like Jersey style diners here
That's
in
what it is,
California.
too. It's like
and
a
that's what it
genuine-
is. It's like a proper New Jersey
That's
diner.
half
Well,
the fun
come
of
by
coming out
soon.
here, yeah.
I will come see you
right,
soon.
good.
But have a party to launch Autopian.
Yes.
Yeah.
And call that cigar roller up. We need that guy.
We
All
will.
right. That's our show, folks. Thank you to our patrons for participating with questions. We are back tomorrow, Wednesday, with Bert motherfucking Chrysler is going to be in studio, and then we've got Alyssa Walker from Curbed LA, who writes about urbanism and how we can enjoy cars without fucking up our cities, and it's a great topic to talk about. So thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.